Hello, everybody. Welcome back to MOR 8, a North American Div A. Tonight we're going to be casting a match between Imperial and Black Omen. My name's Toaster, and I'm here with...
Saruman of many colors.
All right, Saruman, back at it. It's been almost a week since our last cast. Are you excited about this match?
Almost a week indeed, and kind of feels interesting getting out of it. It feels like we kind of cram these things in during the weekends when normal people are out, getting plastered, having fun, going to clubs, parties, maybe having a night out of the town with their favorite girlfriend or their newfound lady. We're here talking about robots.
Nerds will do what nerds do, that's for sure. But I don't know, I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too.
And hopefully PGI is also very grateful of our efforts, along with the hundreds of teams and competitive players. Well, actually, I'm sorry, 34 hundreds of competitive players that have taken part in Martial Olympiad Reborn Week 5. We're already there. Holy smokes. It feels like time.
Yeah, only one more week to go after this one, so these matches are going to be pretty important, especially NA Div A. So for anyone who's less familiar with the scoreboard than us, right now Imperial is leading this division. They've won 4 drops and lost none, while Black Omen and 228 Blackwatch are kind of fighting for that second position. But if Black Omen takes off a drop off of Imperial here, you could potentially see an upset. Black Omen right now sitting at 1-2, has yet to play their week 4 match that was supposed to be against Blackwatch. So there's a lot of movement that could potentially happen in this bracket, especially if Imperial, were to get 5-0'd by either Black Omen or Blackwatch.
Well, one thing that definitely is kind of worth noting is that even though Black Omen is 4-1-2 and Imperial's 4-0, Imperial does lead the division. Black Omen does have a chance to do this if they win out, but also what they have to do is that Imperial has to lose against potentially 228 and once again 228 again. The biggest problem that Black Omen is going to face is that while they do have advantages on kills against Imperial, and while they might have advantages on match score, which are the 2 tiebreakers that the division might come down to, if Black Omen wins this match against Imperial and ends up tying their total score, ending the season with 4-2 record, thus having a 3-win upset, to 1 win against Imperial, 1 win against one win against Imperial, and another win against I'm sorry, not another win against Imperial, another win against 228. But even still, it's a hard road to climb. It's going to come down to a lot of factors, and it's going to take a slight miracle for them to do it.
Yeah, their destiny isn't necessarily all in their own hands. They also have to have Blackwatch win out against Imperial. For Black Omen losing that match against Blackwatch, as close as it was, it did really hurt their chances of winning this division. But never say never. I'm always rooting for an underdog. I've got some friends on both sides of this match, some friends on basically every team in this division. So who knows? It's hard for me to decide who I want to win.
And actually, I'm very sorry right now. The scores are kind of muddled because I keep forgetting unceremoniously that that the other team that counts in the rankings for the tournament organizer, Division B Bananas, just represents Division B teams that have kind of taken the mantle and stepped up to try and get wins. As it stands right now, Imperial has 2 wins against Division A teams. 228 has 1 win. Black Omen has 0. So if Black Omen can beat both Imperial and 228, and if 228 does not win out their division, then Black Omen could essentially tie for first place. And because they have a kill advantage over Imperial, but not necessarily 228, they would also need 228 to kind of lose their last set of matches in order to take the division. It's going to be a very close match, but the thing is that if Imperial wins here and now, odds are good that they will close out the division. There will be no question that Imperial will be the disputed number 1 of this Martial Olympiad Reborn Season 1, mainly because Imperial just has so many wins, 228, and Black Omen wouldn't be able to keep up. Black Omen would have no wins against any Div A teams. They would be able to only root for second place at best. And 228, unfortunately, can only play 2 more matches, which is...
they still have... 228 has their match this week, their match last week that got postponed, and then their match next week of Blackwatch versus Imperial. So they've still got a fair number of matches to play.
Yeah, true. So basically, but the point is if Imperial wins here, they would solidly be in the lead, no questions asked,
Yeah.
and Black Omen would be out of.
Yeah, EMP. If either of these other teams want to have a chance, they need Imperial to lose tonight. And I'm sure Black Omen, they've been putting their thinking caps on, trying to figure out some strats to maybe catch Imperial out, figuring out how they can take advantage of Imperial. They did rather well against Imperial the last time they fought, so I wouldn't count them out for sure. Black Omen can definitely take this match if they maybe get a little bit lucky, and maybe their strategies just pan out as being better than those of EMPs.
Oh, no one's counting anyone out in this division, that's for sure. Especially since, actually, if you look at the match VODs, that you'll see that Black Omen actually performed better than Imperial. They got more kills. Their wins were much more decisive, much better planned, and overall, they just seemed like they had a better idea of how to gain the wins on their sleeves. Also, the light lance has looked better for Black Omen as well, at least until the beginning. Celt and Charlemagne, in my opinion, are still two of the best light pilots in this game, but Krasnopesky, Blaketown, not Pasha, Blaketown, Dario, Navid, they were extremely solid as light pilots, and the most important thing is coordination. They managed to stick together as a light lance, dog fighting other lights, getting into the back and getting combination back shots, thus ending heavy and assault mechs, completely erasing them from the field of battle. And that's something that's very important in these kinds of scenarios. So it's something that's kind of given Black Omen an edge in the light fight. Now, to see whether or not Charlemagne and Selth have learned anything from those matches, that remains to be seen. And in the skill area, we've seen that both light lances are also equally matched. So that's something that's going to be a very hot topic. It's going to be very interesting to see how they play out. I would give the edge right now to Black Omen, unfortunately. Sorry, Selth. Sorry, Charlemagne. But they just seem to have more coordination on their hands, and it's up to them to kind of prove me wrong in this matchup.
Yeah, they did seem like they were or the Black Omen Lights, excuse me, were a little better organized the last time these two teams met. But that being said, do you want to talk to these teams about getting this map ban going?
I am right now.
All right, which map will we end up? This is a map ban for drops 4 and 5. Each team will play either side of this map. So, one game EMP will be team 1, one game EMP will be team 2, and vice versa for Black Omen.
Exactly. And it'll be I kind of hope that they do like something really cool. And the first ban goes out. EMP bans Rubelite Oasis. Good choice. Nobody likes that map.
Therma Alpine. Could we go to Bog for the? No, we're not going to Bog.
No, too late. That was already banned right off the map before you even said something, Toaster. They read your mind.
Yeah, they just know they don't want to see that map. I guess something about it must have these teams on edge. I know it's kind of a little hard. Can play some gimmicky strategies on that map for sure. But it looks like we're going to River City. Saw this map. I believe they played this map last time they met. Ended in some kind of DACA brawl pushes, but we'll see how things have changed. There's been a balance update since we saw this map last, so who knows? Maybe DACA brawl isn't the way to go.
Well, to be fair, much of the balance changes shifted on LRMs, ATMs, SRMs, if I remember correctly, and those have kind of been neutralized with the introduction of missile health being lowered on LRMs. Missile health got raised a little bit on ATMs, but we've seen AMS be slightly affected, but at the same time, when teams don't bring AMS, it happens to disastrous results, as we've seen when 228 Blackwatch on Rubelite Oasis brought a combination of LRMs and ATMs, and because of the fact that not JGX, Black Omen, I apologize again, because Black Omen brought little to no AMS on their side, they got lermed out, they weren't able to establish map control, and it brought the end upon them.
Yeah, there's a bit of a kind of rock, paper, scissors going on. Do we bring it and entirely neutralize their missiles, or do a good job at neutralizing them, or do we not bring it and risk getting punished? But oh well. You want to talk about the very first map of the night?
Forest City Night. This is a classic. Now, I haven't played this map in so long, so my strategies on this are a little outdated. So, Toaster, I hope you have the map strat open to kind of follow me on this.
Whoop, wrong screen, but now I do. So yeah, this map, I don't know. Its defining feature is that dropship that goes through Charlie 3, Charlie 4. right? It's kind of divides the map in half and makes it kind of determines what your team can hold and not hold without a push.
Exactly. So essentially, how it works is that Team 1 essentially sets up on one side, normally around these building areas, Bravo 3, Bother 4, to guard the points of Gamma and Kappa. And then meanwhile, on Alpha side, you kind of have the heavy and assault mechs of Delta 3 and Delta 4 set up on this side, or set up closer to the dropship, although they don't want to set up too close because they don't want to get brawl pushed on in order to guard the points of Epsilon and Sigma. And then this would normally equate to static trading on both sides. You'd have tradings from this spot at Charlie 3, you'd have mechs sometimes flex out this side, or you'd have mechs just trade from these standard spots right here, and then you'd see trades in kind from Team 2. Now, the other X factor of this map is Theta. Normally, teams would try and send light lances over here, but the thing is that point would be a little bit too devious. It'd be hard for Team 2 to cover. So at times, Team 2 might try and swing around to Epsilon side in order to push that side out, or if they're feeling really dicey, they try, a frozen strat where they get fast mechs up top and try and push through this area, but not many mechs, only 1 to 2, because this thing right here is a cornhole. It's a very small entry point. It's very easy to get your mech stuck in there. And as a result, you try to kind of shift the game over, but this is definitely a Team 1 side map, mainly because Theta is on Team 1 side. Even though they don't have the greatest firing lines on it, these icicles are impossible for Team 1 to actually get lines on until they jump down. It does mean that Team 1 has easier access to this crucial Theta point, which means it's easier for them to cover.
Yeah, it's definitely very hard for Team 1 to cover that, but like you said, it's a little bit closer to the safe area for their light mechs if they do decide to gear up Theta. I remember playing this myself. It mostly kind of devolved around to two brawl teams sitting on either side of the ship, neither one really wanting to go in. But then, one team's lights say, okay, their lights are at Theta, we're bugging back first, and we'll join up with our main body and kind of take that slight numbers advantage and hopefully beat their lights back. But it's a hard map to play for sure. And I also kind of wonder how the tonnage on this drop is going to affect things. We've got like what 625 maximum tonnage on this map, so a lot of assault mechs for 8v8, and that means kind of movement around the map, especially with all the kind of narrow chokes, around in the whatever you want to call this canyon or around the dropship. It makes it a little bit hard to maneuver without giving your opponent a good chance to just kind of all focus one mech as you're pushing in.
And the biggest X factor of this drop for Team 2 was always kind of these crevices throughout the map, like, the Charlie 3 snow hill, around Charlie 4, Charlie 5, these ice caps here, and then pushing around the low end of dropship. You even had some lights be a little insane and try and push over the dropship right here to get some extra shots, which is why the onus was always on either Team 1 or Team 2 to kind of set up in this back area, because if they set up a little too close to the dropship right here, then they could just get eviscerated by brawl pushes. So the X factor always was kind of pushing through those lanes around dropship, pushing through the ice caps over here, or trying to circle around with lighter mechs over here. But this is definitely a map that's intensive towards light mechs. They're going to make the most impacts, especially jump jet like mechs, because they can jump up and around these ice caps here using their mobility to get the proper flanks necessary to do the maximum amount of damage. Excuse me. And that's why these light battles are going to be so important. Like, unless 228 and EmP have a strategy that shifted to neutralizing overall mobility, then the lights are going to be playing a huge role, especially fighting over that data point.
All right.
But now we are strapped in, so let's go.
These teams are getting a little bit impatient, but get the show on the road. Watching mechs fight is always better than watching us draw on the map. But yeah, you're right.
Krasnopesky is always impatient, but that's why we love him. He likes to keep things succinct. He likes to keep things professional. He likes to keep things moving, and that is why I can respect the man.
Yep. Yeah, but like you said, I do think you're very right. Light mechs and being able to scout well and and get that information to your assaults so they can position well is very important on this map.
No drop ships because it's a classic. The way things are set up, we can actually get a little bit of a view before the match begins. I'm already seeing Team 2 bringing out 2 Annihilators on their side. Don't know their weaponry. Meanwhile, they have what looks like 2 Blood Asps, 2 Linebackers, 3 Blood Asps, and a Piranha. So this is going to be very interesting. Blood Asps, Annihilators, and a Piranha. I'm guessing that Team 2 might actually be starting to do a DACA push. And then on Team 1 side, you have what looks to be a Summoner. You have a Direwolf, a Nova, an Annihilator, a Wolfhound. I do not like that choice on this map. It's going to not be able to have the same access to lanes as other mechs. A Mad Cat Mark II, a Marauder 2C, and another Summoner. So I want to see the setup for Black Omen real quick. And it looks like they're bringing the DACA. The Blood Asps are armed with UAC 5s and UAC 10s, and they seem to be moving very quickly to that Charlie 3 line. No breaks. It doesn't look like they're setting up for a trade fight. And meanwhile, on the other side, on EmP, you kind of see the mechs starting to piddle out a little bit. Reckless and Rickrom are capping in their heavier mechs, which indicates that there's really not a lot of urgency to move those mechs up. Normally, you would trust into the lights. The Marauder 2C, interestingly enough, from Rickrom, has a boatload of medium pulse lasers. I want to say 9, and this definitely is much different from the more DACA-heavy deck involving the Blood Asps. Meanwhile, you have the Wolfhound Charlemagne patrolling Theta, watching it, also being covered by an assault, but the DACA is on. We're already seeing the Direwolf from the Annihilator. I mean, the Annihilator and Direwolf from Chimera and from Stimrock pouring out shells. Stealth, however, took a huge hit. Bearclaw, however, is getting beat up, but these linebackers are already charging in, and Stealth looks like he might be slightly isolated. There aren't a lot of mechs that can give him cover. He's got to get out of there.
Yeah, Stealth could be dead here. He's already lost one side torso from these linebackers. They snuck around through the little canyon, but now these linebackers are kind of stuck out on their own. But the rest of Black Omen is pushed over Saddle.
Dario's taken out Chimera. That's not good. Chimera and Stimrock were the primary trading mechs. Bowser is completely out of the fight in his Executioner, and Charlemagne is too far to get away. This is what I mean. The Wolfhound really doesn't have the direct access to jump jets or speed to get back into this. And right now, Black Omen is just pouring in here like mad, setting the edge, brawling like crazy. Look at the firepower brought on by Black Omen. Imminent's already down 85%. Brickrom 72%. That's a meaningful 72%. Dogmeat brings down Stealth, who's already down. Stimrock 45%. He has an artillery strike dropped on him, so he's probably going to drop soon enough. Rickrom down 56%. He's getting surrounded by the linebackers, and Pasha, the Annihilator 2A, is pushing through. Jay-Z brings down Stimrock, who was a primary trader, and we're seeing these mechs drop like flies. Right. Charlemagne manages to kill Lizzie. Right now, Lizzie and Bowser are coming in the back. They really have to start getting involved in this, but the main body for EmP is pretty much non-existent. Imminent accidentally kills Reckless in an artillery strike, I believe, and the match is not looking good for Imperial. This might have already been decided.
Yeah, Dario looks like he's been doing some harassing to Bowser. It's just Bowser and Charlemagne left. It looks like they'd gone over to Theta and kind of been caught out here now that when their team got pushed so quickly. Charlemagne's gonna go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Continue.
Charlemagne doing a little bit of poking on the back of that linebacker, but it's just gonna have to bug out, and now it's just him. Oh, Bowser's still alive in the back though, but it doesn't look like this.
Bowser did manage to get a kill, but it looks like he's gonna go down from Bearclaw. Jay-Z's at 90%, perfectly fresh. Not much Bowser can do about it. What a brilliant strategy by Black Omen. Absolutely excellent. But Charlemagne's not done yet. He's trying to get some kills and bring this match back. Pasha's down 50%. Bowser's dead. Charlemagne kills Pasha. 4 mechs left. Oh my goodness, if Charlemagne clutches this out, but he can't. He's already dead, and it's over. What a push!
Someone got Chimera claiming he got headshot. Was Chimera in?
He died.
He was in the
Dire Wolf. Yes, Chimera was in the Dire Wolf. That is a very headshotable mech, and that kind of shows the danger of these kind of high points when you're against such limited traders. Black Omen pushing their DACA in against Imperial's firing line. 1-0. Black Omen.
Yeah, I believe Dario got the kill, which I don't think he was in a position to actually have headshot him with his lasers on that Piranha, but maybe someone headshot Chimera, opened him up, and then from a distance that Piranha got a strike in that finished his head off. I don't know, what do you see over here from these scoreboard stats?
What I see is that the damage spread is very consistent. Pasha and Lermgod, 692, 540. Pasha doing almost 700 damage. Very good game. Jay-Z, 721 in his Blood Asp. Very good. Lizzie, 450, 448, and 397 for Bear Claw Dog Meat, respectively. Krasnopesky, 600 damage in his Blood Asp. Very, very good. Very tight-knit damage spread. Meanwhile, in Imperial, Bowser does 513, Stimrog, 509, but they don't do enough. Chimera, 367. Evan, he took way too much damage in the beginning. Reckless, 172. Gets wasted. Imminent, same thing, 233. The damages aren't necessarily low for Imperial, but they're definitely nothing compared to Black Omen, and this just seems to be a bit of a positional failure from EmP. And in all honesty, it was kind of like rock, paper, scissors. They thought that there was going to be a fight on Theta, and to be honest, we did too, so we really can't fault them very much for it. I guess in the end that JGX just anticipated that they would try to go for Theta and came up with a strategy that was tailored to fighting any attempts to push Theta, an all or nothing push. And it turned out to work absolutely for their favor and absolutely against EmP. It seems like they did not expect it, and that was an incredible win, and it definitely sets the tempo in Black Omen's favor.
Yeah. Now, that being said, one thing I want to kind of mention here. So in this league, you can only use a single the three variants of a single chassis or throughout the night, right? So in that drop, Black Omen used up all their Blood Asps and two of their three linebackers. And those mechs have been really popular, especially on these like drops 2 and 3 for pushing decks. And so I kind of wonder if that might end up coming back to bite Black Omen later in the night. Yes, Imperial did take a pretty heavy loss there, but they also took some mechs that I would say are kind of less popular. And so maybe they'll be able to bring this back later just because not used up kind of these their drop deck, as you would say.
At the same time, though, it is worth noting that that first drop definitely sets the tempo. You know, like a lot of people forget this, but morale is definitely a thing in competitive games. And when you lose that first match, and when you lose it so decisively and lose it in such a rough fashion, just getting rushed, getting outplanned, not anticipating that strategy like Imperial did, it can definitely affect the minds and hearts of the pilots involved. Now, Imperial, I don't think that they'll be that phased. They've been in situations like this before, and they have come back from it. The team's always known a bit of adversity, even since their inception when it was first formed. SJR actually beat Imperial 4-1 in their very first MRBC drop. So Imperial was never always the top dog for this. So if there's any team that could bounce back, it's them, but we cannot undercut how brilliant of a strategy this was. This may seem like no skill rush, but in the end, it was a no skill rush that kind of just punched Imperial right in the mouth, bloodied their lip and their nose. This is definitely what Black Omen needed to do to set the tempo to show that they're willing to try anything in order to get the win.
Yeah. The one thing about rushing like that is I'm sure teams at this level, you know, they kind of do their homework. They understand the timings, where mechs can and can't be. And so they decided this push, you know, it could work, and they went with it, and they pulled it off excellently. Want to head over to the map strat, though? Kind of draw this up.
I mean, we can, but there's not much to talk about. I'm always game for map strat.
Yeah, might as well. Got some, looks like some people swapping out mechs, rebuilding things. So EmP Team 1 had their main traders set up way in the back here, up on this top of this hill. Bowser, I believe, actually went to Theta, or at least around, and came back eventually.
No, he did. He went to Theta with Charlemagne right here, so you are correct on that. And they also had some traders in Bravo 3 area. I believe that the Nova was right here, as you pointed out, like in that area. And then the Summoner was back here along with the Mad Cat Mark II, which was kind of in this vicinity because they capped Theta. And what we saw from Black Omen was just this huge sweeping push by their heavies and assaults, just pushing into their lines, and the linebackers taking this tunnel that I mentioned, which is very smart. They only brought the linebackers to that tunnel, as I said. They didn't get cornholed, so that was very intelligent design from Black Omen. And they just swept around and made this into their personal kill zone, striking it, destroying it, shoving mechs into it. They just got into the face of Imperial and employed their high DPS DACA mechs to end the fight quickly and decisively.
Yeah, Selith in that Nova, you know, he, I guess, technically scouted those linebackers, but there was nothing he could do, and he was basically out of the fight instantly. They took one side torso and then took his other arm. didn't finish him off until later, kind of neutralizing his threat. Unfortunately, you did see Chimera in that direwolf. He got killed a little early, and he did mention something about a headshot. So that could end up being a kind of a big impact on that match. You know, maybe if he's up there just a little bit longer. I know that direwolf can put out some serious damage, especially at range. Just it's a high DPS monster, and if you get the opportunity to turret, you know, it can put down some work. But you're right. You know, the Black Omen, they just kind of pushed across, used their DACA, I think, DPS advantage, and especially having Bowser and Charlemagne out of the fight on Theta, you know, that's two home X that you don't have to worry about.
And you know what? Credit to Charlemagne and Bowser, they were bringing it back. Originally, there were only one. There was only one mech dead on Black Omen's side, I believe. 4 mechs were fallen for Black Omen, but it was just all for naught. That was just a lot of firepower that they were missing, and the Executioner was not fast enough to get back to the.
Yeah. Even with the jump jets and the mask on that thing, it's still, you know, it's no linebacker, that's for sure.
And even the Wolfhound, like the Wolfhound was too immobile as well. Like you got to consider that if not necessarily the Piranha, but if you bring something with jump jets on it, like, you know,
maybe a
not even
Mislinks,
necessarily a fire starter, but a Mislinks, an urban mech, I mean, if you really want to consider it a cheetah, if you really want to save lights, I don't know why you'd bring that. But yeah, pretty much any other light would have done a little better in that situation. But the Wolfhound just didn't have enough killing power, and it didn't have any sort of jump jets. It didn't have any way to quickly crest over the ice caps, and it kind of hurt it. I mean, you know, in the end, it might have been all for naught anyway, because it would have died with the rest of the team because the Executioner wasn't there to assist it. But I wonder what if. But even though that wasn't the story of the fight was that Black Omen just employed a brilliant strategy.
Yeah, they knew their timings well, and they just pushed straight over and kind of caught EmP out, I think, with those 2 mechs on Theta. But anyways, now we're off to Frozen City, but the new version. So I want to just, I don't know, talk about new Frozen City. It is domination, so that does kind of limit the number of strategies you can pull, but definitely an interesting map and a different map as far as how it is played and how it can be played.
The biggest difference with Frozen City is that, you know, it's kind of similar from the old Frozen City, except the trading lanes are a little different. On one side, you kind of have basically Team 1. They can move they'll sometimes, wrong color. Oh, excuse me. Wow, this is not good. The grilled cheese is coming back to bite me.
Oh, no.
But anyway, you basically have them moving around this way, and in Pog matches, you'll see people set up an Echo 6 to trade. Meanwhile, in more comp matches, you'll see mechs trade from Echo 7 to Fox 7 in the back, or they'll try and sweep around to get Golf 7. They'll basically try and put Overwatch on this hill, and then they'll have mechs kind of dance around the dropship position here in order to secure the circle. And you'll see a similar movement from Team 2 at times. They'll set up in these vicinities on their trading side, and basically the main focus is to just try and keep tabs on the circle here. They'll have lights in this section, maybe lights in this section, maybe have some trading mechs here and here. But as I said, the main goal is to keep heads down and keep the trades happening. Now, we have seen that in these lighter drops, mechs will just kind of rush into the circle, especially from Team 1 side, get in there and push past the circle to brawl and hit those trading positions of the enemy team. And this can swing both ways. This isn't just exclusive to Team 1, but at the end of the day, it generally comes down to trading or range. And I have a feeling that we might actually see, I mean, not trading and kind of speed brawl. And I think that what we'll see is potentially more speed brawl rather than trading from range, just because of the fact that these areas are actually very suited for speed brawl. You know, there's a lot of places to hide, especially if you use jump jets. There's a lot of ways to get in and out of the circle, and the distances in the circle are very like small, clumped up.
Yeah.
So it's not hard to get on these range mechs. And plus, these range mechs really don't have great angles on mechs in the circle from, say, back here or here, compared to like Conquest, where you're kind of watching these points over here and you're kind of safeguarding them, meanwhile trading against the enemy team in these positions. So that way you can kind of clear open lanes and get map control to get those caps. You don't have to worry about it in domination. All you have to do is sync the mechs in this circle, and that comes down to positioning mechs close here, which is why trade might not be as strong. We might see a bit more brawl in this.
Yeah, I'd expect maybe, you know, maybe you bring like one Overwatch mech and to kind of hold range and entice the other team to push into you. But real quick here, before we get going, teams are asking we need to make sure we change it to time of day. But
Excellent.
yes, but yeah, you're right. It does. I think this map especially kind of favors speed brawl. It's not. There's enough cover, but at the same time, it's cool enough that you can pretty easily push into another team without them being able to wreck you too much with their trading. Sometimes when I remember playing this MRBC drop one, sometimes what you'd have is like you'd have one team set up a guy in G6 and the other team set up a guy in E6, and like they kind of trade it out, and then it's your brawler's decision. Do we go in and take that bait, or do we kind of wait and try and receive them going for our trade guy, right? And maybe how you path to them is also important. Do you go straight down through the center, or do you kind of go around through the 7 line where there's more cover, but it's a little bit longer? It's definitely I think an interesting map for domination, because there's a lot of terrain, a lot of cover, but at the same time, the ranges are long enough that you can do some kind of rangy shenanigans. I know when I was in Marine Mechs, we like to bring the large laser trebuchet, man. That mech was a lot of fun, and you could do a lot of work in a short amount of time on this map.
Definitely. I remember the trebuchet kind of being a bit of a staple mech in this situation. I remember also that people were experimenting with things like the Panther, the urban mechs like that. But overall, I still would like to stand by the fact that I feel like Brawl is going to win the day here. I just feel like that range might not be that necessarily strong because of those high positions at Fox 5 and Fox 6. The fact that you have to get too close in order to snipe at things from the circle a little bit. You can take these positions outside, but then after that, you might lose a little bit of circle control, or you might be isolating your mechs a little bit. It feels like map control is just a little harder to get on this, especially on these lighter drops. Now, obviously, we could still see range. It's still a possibility, but I just don't see a necessity to employ it, especially when, Imperial still has a lot of light mechs. We might see range trades from Black Omen because, they lost some linebackers. They lost a little bit of speed from that drop one, especially trying to employ that Zerg rush against Imperial side of Frozen City Classic Knights map. But I feel like Imperial will not have that necessary fear of employing speed brawl. I feel like that they've been very strong in Vulcans, and it's hard to tell how the lights performed in drop one because they just got rushed. But once again, it definitely comes down to the fact that at the end of the day, Imperial has a strong light staple. Why not use it?
It looks like both teams are ready though, so let's go ahead and get in here. But yeah, I think you're right.
Excellent.
It'll be interesting to see. You didn't really get a good sense for how the lights on either side are playing since Black Omen just kind of rushed EmP last match. But now's the time to find out, I guess.
Charlemagne did end the stat line with that looked pretty impressive on paper. 3 kills, almost 400 damage, and a Wolfie against some heavy mechs is pretty good. And his back shots were very impressive, but at the end of the day, it really didn't count for anything. So it's hard to.
Yeah, on this game or on this tournament, it's not kills that matter so much unless you're going to a tiebreaker. It's just game wins and losses.
The holy W. But Imperial does still have a chance to get this locked out, and they still have a chance to shut Black Omen out of any chance of taking first.
All right, so what do you see these mechs for these teams? What mechs do you see them having?
Unfortunately, this isn't Frozen City Classic, so these mechs get dropped by a drop ship, so I cannot see these mechs, which was really unfortunate. I like the fact that we could have seen the team's loadout before the match begun, and, thank 5-minute delays that the other team couldn't sparse it out real quick.
Yeah, I'll read through some of these lists, I guess. Black Omen on Team 2 side, bringing a Roughneck 3A, just one, Flea 17, a Wolfhound, and 2 Wolfhound 2s, 2 Crab 27Bs, so probably medium pulses, and Lermgod and a Griffin 1E, along with Lizzie and an Eben. So they're looking kind of brawly, but also some kind of mid-range laser vomit. Oh, looks like, did somebody crash? I believe somebody crashed.
We have a crash. Like the keyboard malfunction of old. In the MWOWC 2018, we have a crash. And this will be interesting to see.
Yeah, but luckily, neither teams have actually dropped yet. So it's a crash while they were loading in. So we're just probably going to have a short wait here. until that person gets in. Timer hasn't quite started ticking. This is domination, not conquest, so I would say the, going to time running out a minute or two here at the start isn't such a big.
Well, Celt did inform me that they might have to redrop because that person crashed, and they might have to do everything. We'll give it the minutes as per rules, according to Krasnopesky. So, yeah, let's see how everything plays out. We'll see if the teams move.
Yes, we're watching you. All-seeing eyes in the sky and see if you. But these teams being good. Holding
well, now
properly.
We can actually see the weaponry on these players. So let's go through EmP since it seemed like you got a good sting on Black Omen. As I said, they kind of went a little light on their drop. Stimrog, 5 medium pulse laser, Vulcan. Similar stuff being brought by other players on Imperial. SRM6 Artemis, Assassins for Imminent. Vicious is bringing 6 medium pulse laser linebacker Prime. Stimrock, 5 medium pulse laser Vulcan. Charlemagne bringing the Wolfhound. I will never ever have any idea what his love affair with that mech is. However, it looks like that they are bringing some range. Chimera bringing a Hellbringer Virago with 4 ER large lasers. Meanwhile, Celt bringing the Piranha 3, excellent alpha damage, a boatload of micro lasers with some small pulse lasers to support, and Bowser bringing a 3 ER PPC Sun Spider with Reckless bringing his trademark Vulcan 5T, which he used to great effect in their first match against Blackwatch. And it looks like all the players have loaded in. We're getting the game started and we're ready to go. So it looks like that EMP's brought a little more speed. And meanwhile, Black Omens kind of mixed it up with a little brawl of their own. They have Grasshoppers with medium pulse lasers, the Crab 27B with Jay-Z, also medium pulse lasers, kind of like a mini Stalker, so he's not completely outside his element. Lerm God, Griffin Sparky, 6 medium pulse lasers, another effective medium pulse boat. Navid bringing the Wolfhound 2. Once again, I hate that mech. Sorry, Navid. Love you, though, buddy. 5 medium pulse lasers. Krasnopesky, Wolfhound 2, 5 medium pulse lasers as well. Lizzie, 3 ER large lasers, 5 medium lasers. So a mix of range and brawl on both sides. Dario bringing the Flea 17 with small pulse lasers. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Right now, the teams are just doing some simple trades, getting chip damage in. 99% for Pasha and Dario, 98% for Charlemagne. Took a little bit of damage on the cross up. Really nothing to worry about, though, but circle control seems to be in the hands of Black Omen. Not necessarily what EmP wants to see. Their movement's a little bunched, but it seems like they're just trying to get into position. Not exactly sure what their goal is. They only have 1 mech in the circle. Looks like they might be trying to wait for Black Omen to push. And meanwhile, Black Omen's just moving on their side of the city, aggressing up to the circle while their lights are facing the trial by fire. Quite literally, strikes pouring on them like rain. And the match, however, seems to be drawing to a bit of a standstill. The trades have slowed down a little bit, and it seems like each team is trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of trading going. Lizzie and his Eben and Bowser and his Sun Spider doing a bit of trading. Pasha and the Roughneck as well. Seems like neither team feels like they really need to push at this point. And Seleth and Kraz just holding the circle. I don't think anyone knows where Seleth is. He hasn't really moved from this boat. He's pretty protected right here. He doesn't want to give his position away and potentially be pushed out for his team.
This is actually a great hiding spot picked by Celt too. I love this hiding spot Celt has because it also essentially shields him from artillery and airstrikes, unless those artillery strikes are like 0.1% effective where they're really clumped up. Brilliant positioning by Celt. Meanwhile, Krasnopesky and Dario taking a more conventional approach, just bringing 2 lights. They have faith in themselves and that if they get into a situation where they have to light fight, they can win it out. Krasnopesky takes a nasty hit, but so does Bowser. Bowser down 88%.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, Bowser definitely losing these trades. He's lost almost 10% of his mech. And if I know anything about that Sun Spider, its side torsos are squishy, as good as the quirks for PPCs on that one variant are.
Interestingly enough, though, Bowser has not taken much damage in the side torso. It's his center torso that's orange right now, so perhaps he's just doing some good shielding, and the nose of the Sun Spider is what's getting hit. So the damage is still spread, but obviously percentages are going down, and the clock is ticking a bit for EmP. This definitely does not seem to favor them, although it seems like they might be trying to wait for Black Omen to move a little bit too close to their main body, so that way they could just push in. Stimrog, however, has started taking up a bit more of a position in the circle. Bowser's still in the back in his trading position. Strikes are getting dropped, but he doesn't seem to be taking much damage from it. Chimera dropping down 92% in his Hellbringer Virago. Lermgod, however, must have gotten struck or something. He's down 68%. That's brutal.
I missed that, unfortunately, but yeah, that's a lot of damage on that Griffin one.
EmP starting to win the strike war now. Lizzie got hit badly with an artillery, 78%. And let's see his mech real quick, just to get an idea of how much those strikes hurt. Yeah, Lizzie's side and his centers are orange, and he's definitely starting to get chipped down on some percentages. And looking at Lermgod, I believe it's a similar story. Yeah, that artillery strike definitely took a beating. Most of the damage, however, is still in his arms, but I believe that the Sparky does need those arms, so that's definitely something that is not necessarily ideal. He still has two medium pulse lasers in his torsos, but losing 4 medium pulse lasers in his arms before the fight even begins would be not bueno in his position.
Yeah. It seems like, maybe Black Omen getting a little more stagnant. Their positions are, I'd say, a bit easier to predict when they're hiding behind cover because they basically just have these buildings. Whereas like Bowser has that nice kind of long sloping hill. He can be kind of anywhere on that ridge. Lizzie taking another regular arty strike hit here, down
59% on Lizzie. That was a brutal hit right now. His side torsos and his center torsos are definitely starting to move towards the red area, but even worse, his rear is orange, meaning a couple of good shots from a light, maybe 1 to 2, and he's dead. That's going to be a very bad situation. If EmP recognizes that, he is medium pulse laser food, sir. But right now, trades are still stagnant. EmP is no closer to moving up. It's a battle of inches, World War I style, trench warfare almost. Both teams just trying to wait for the other one to make a mistake, and I do like this play from Imperial, at least for now. They're waiting to see Black Omen make a move. They might not be winning the percentage battles, or they might, but look at what Chimera is doing, utilizing the full extent of his Virago's range. He's getting shots on Lizzie, ticking his percentages down bit by bit. These are some insane shots. Chimera is shooting through the bridge, he's shooting through a rock formation, and he's shooting at super long ranges to get damage on Lizzie. He's gotten him down, I'd say, 5 percentage points at this rate. Excellent accuracy from Chimera. Kudos to you, sir.
Yeah, he's a hell of a shot. I know I've played with and against him. But yeah, it seems like, I don't know, it seems like Black Omen, they were, I would say, winning the trades until those strikes started coming in, and now there's another one that is being said, being dropped right on Pasha and Lizzie, and Pasha takes a big hit.
Pasha takes a huge hit, yeah, definitely. Brought down a couple percentage points. He's down 80%, and that was an airstrike, so that was all center torso. His roughneck is almost ready to pop. It's center torso's orange armor, yellow internals. Not much shots required necessary to take that off, and look at Chimera's positioning right now with
another arty strike getting dropped.
Moving up slightly. Yeah, just moving up ever so slightly, supporting Bowser on that left flank, and then you see Stimrog with Stealth. It looks like that EmP might be posturing to potentially make a move.
Yeah, Lizzie taking another big PPT hit from Bowser there. His CT's gotta be hurting. I don't know what you do in this Black Omen. Like, it seems like they need to start getting some of their brawlier elements closer to EmP. I don't think they're gonna win these trades at this point. Lizzie and Pasha are just too beat up. They've taken so much strike damage this game, and it doesn't seem like you can either push the EmP lights out of the circle either. Stimrog itself are doing pretty fine. Stimrog taking a bit of burns. It seems like Kraz knows where they are at this point.
If there is one thing I will say, is that right now, if Black Omen kind of did a long push around the outside of the buildings towards the Epsilon point a little more with their crabs and with the Wolfhound, they might actually be able to get some kills. Sure, Reckless, Vicious, Imminent, and Charlemagne are fresh, but if you're focusing their fire, they're not expecting it, since right now it looks as though that EmP only really sees a couple mechs at a time. They really haven't even tried to shoot the crabs much. Gojel's damage seems to be more strike, but it looks like that Vicious actually took a page out of the book that I just said on his side. It looked like he was going to move up a little bit, but Gojel gets a sweet scout on him. Good eyes from him. But at the same time, having the battle remain the same is not advantageous to Black Omen. Lizzie's getting eaten alive by strikes, down 47%. Bowser's starting to get some key shots in with his PPC, Sun Spider, and the damage he's taking is overall pretty decently. Actually, no, it's not.
Oh, looks like
I eat my words back.
Kraz is getting jumped in the circle here. Kraz might go down. Stimrog and Selth are, and they take him out. So Kraz just got a little bit closer, a little bit too close to the EmP lights, and I guess maybe he didn't know Selth was there. He had to have some idea that something was up. Dario tried to come in and help him. Now Dario is holding down the circle, but he was not able to save the Black Omen light and Kraz. So this is
that was a pick. Yeah, that pick was absolutely necessary by Imperial because now they can essentially force Black Omen to make a move. That was not good. We'd have to see. I wish that we could see a replay on that a little bit because I'm not sure what Kraz did, but looking at how his mech died, yeah, he was a little bit in the open, and they didn't expect Selth because of his position. I'm pretty sure that they had no clue where Selth was during that fight, since Selth is still completely fresh at 92%. Well, meanwhile, basically Stimrog took the brunt of the damage at 60%. That's the thing with that Piranha. It has almost as much damage as an AC-40 Jaeger. You let that thing slip into you and it's done. And I think that this might be GG for Eon Synergy almost.
EMP's
Lizzie lost many
blood.
of his weapons.
EMP's smelling blood. They've moved up all the way in the 7 line. Vex's kind of taking the lead in his linebacker.
Good call, Toaster. Yeah, Lermgod and Lizzie are about to drop. Imminent drops Lizzie. Easy kill. Reckless coming in to finish off Lermgod. Lermgod trying to retreat, but it's not going to matter. Chimera finishes off easy street. Jay-Z, Gojal, Navid, they can't cover the circle at all. And this gives Selth and Stimrog a chance to finish the game by killing Dario and having complete circle control. There's nothing that Black Omen can do to get it back, and the mech disadvantage on their side along with the percent disadvantage means that it's pretty much GG. Reckless takes down Pasha, Chimera takes down Dario, Goljal's about to drop down soon, 34%. Before I even finish my sentence, he's already gone. Jay-Z takes down Imminent, but pretty much at this point, it's just a garbage time kill, and this match goes to EMP. Great recovery on their side. Look at that sweet double kill. Excellent. Yep. EMP, Black Omen, 1-1. Great recovery by EMP. Great play with the strikes and great light pick. Very solid win.
Yeah, it seems like Kraz, maybe thinking he could do something, beat up that Vulcan, got a little too aggressive, didn't realize Selth was there and got picked for it. But what do these damage numbers tell you?
These damages tell me that Bowser and Chimera did work. MVPs for this match. Both of them sharing 4 kills and over 1,100 damage between them. Reckless, however, did work in the brawl along with Selth. 403 damage from Reckless, 360 damage from Selth. Light MVP right there. Vicious as well, doing some work in his linebacker. Stimrog, however, got the killing blow on Krasnopetsky. And what we see is that the Black Omen lights just lag behind. Krasnopetsky only doing 114 damage, and his Wolfhound Dario 44. He just got picked, unfortunately. And Pasha and Lizzie only breaking 314, 341 respectively. Not able to do much in those mechs.
Yeah, it seems like they were just getting out-traded, outstruck, really. The Wolfhound, or the Ebonjag and the Roughneck just not able to keep up with the Virago and that Sunspider. Bowser and Chimera definitely doing a ton of work in those mechs.
And I think you...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Please. No. Well, I was going to say, I think you touched on it perfectly too in your original assessment that the fact that EMP's trading positions were much more spread than Black Omens, the fact that Black Omens were a bit more predictable in their trading spots, they were kind of just, in spots that were very predictable. Drake helped assist EMP in this trading game because of the fact that they were they knew exactly where to strike. They knew exactly what to hit, and they were able to avoid damage overall. As you said, Bowser had that entire hill to navigate, and he was navigating it well. So sure, at the beginning, trades were shifting to Black Omen, but because of Black Omen's more static positions, they were more effective to strike. So that was a good call, Toaster.
Yeah, I mean, we even saw by the end of the game, Chimera and his Virago had moved like all the way across the canyon to get even wider angles on those heavies of Black Omen, and they never really had an answer for either of them, and they ended up, I think, just stagnating in those buildings way too much. But oh well. Now onto the same map, different sides this time though. So we'll see. Maybe this time Black Omen will kind of take a page out of Imperial's book and punish any building traders again.
Hold on though. Before we begin, Toast, would you like to do a giveaway?
I could do a giveaway. I can do a giveaway. Let me just load up Lock Tools. Something went wrong. All right.
All right. Good. While you're getting that giveaway ready, I will be right back. And remember, do not delete me from that game.
Oh, it's too late. Too late.
I didn't even have a chance to take my headset off to walk away.
It's not too late,
you already
but
deleted
don't tell
me.
him, chat. All right. For anyone who's in chat, all you have to do to enter is have been active. There will be, I think, at least one more giveaway tonight. So just be active in chat. I will add you, and we'll see who wins. If you do win, make sure you whisper me. It's /W and then my username space TOAST3R space, and then just say hey or whatever, and I will get you your code. But who's gonna win? See, a lot of familiar names. The Magician. Is this Oppenheimer 1927? Congrats. I will send you your MechBay code, or if you want it, or I'll let you do whatever with it. All right, so going back to the map strat, I'll kind of draw up what we had going on here.
And I am back. So welcome back, Saruman. Thank you for holding down the Fort Toaster.
Oh.
I hope that I will get my giveaway win shortly.
I'm sad to announce you did not win. So basically, I'm going to draw up what happened. We got a bit of time to wait while these teams get situated. Basically, the traders for EmP, they were mostly working on this D5 cough hill here. My grid. Thank you, Battle Grid. D5. Whereas the Black Omen traders were kind of stuck in these buildings in F7. They're kind of, this was the main one they were sitting behind, but they were kind of arcing around between these ones, the Roughneck and the Ebb and Jag. Now, at the start, I would say that Black Omen was getting the better of those trades. You know, Lizzie or Bowser wasn't doing so hot. He was taking a lot of CT burns. But eventually what happened is you kind of saw Chimera actually drop into this pit, and then Bowser being, I think, playing a little more cagey, as Bandit would say, working the very extreme peak of that with his high mounts in that Sun Spider. And the Black Omen mechs just started getting pounded by strikes just being dropped one after another in this lane. And, you know, you can say, oh, just step out behind the building and avoid them, but when you do that, you know, you're opening yourself up to free shots from Chimera and Bowser, so it's kind of a hard decision to make. Not to mention, we also saw there were a couple of regular arty strikes that were dropped behind the Black Omen mix that I don't think they saw right away, or maybe comms got a little muddled and, you know, they took some hits for that reason. Meanwhile, you know, we had Kraz sitting down here in his Wolfhound, just kind of working angles. Eventually, South in his Piranha was just kind of nestled in here the entire game. I mean, he never did anything to give his position away. Eventually, I believe it was Reckless in his Vulcan came down, and I guess I'm not in Kraz's head, so I don't know this for sure. But I guess Kraz kind of saw the opportunity, thought, "Oh, I can beat this Vulcan in my Wolfhound." Moved a little bit far forward, and then we caught him just on the tail end of that engagement. Selth kind of ran out along with the Vulcan, and they managed to pick Kraz, and that was kind of all she wrote.
Well, I would like to say that as a light pilot, what Kraz probably thought was that he could get some chip damage, and once again, it comes down to the fact that Selth excuse me, what it comes down to was that Selth in his light just simply wasn't scouted in his direction. So I think that what Kraz and what Dario saw was that they saw Stimrog might be the only Vulcan down here. Reckless was coming down just to get some trade damage. So they just wanted to get some pokes in from that position that you drew to try and get some damage down. So that way the rest of his team could work him enough to get a pick. However, it ended up working completely in the opposite direction because Selth right here, being the sneaky little piranha he was, came out and hit him hard and managed to get the kill on Krasnopesky. Very, very strong kill.
Yeah. And after that point, you know, I think EmP sensed that those heavies on Black Omen side were so beat up, they could just push. They just kind of made a nice kind of gradual advance through these buildings. They were pretty spread out. There wasn't like one main giant brawl of EmP mechs, and they just kind of forced their way through these buildings, picking up kills as they went. Chimera at this point had, I think, moved all the way up to Echo 5, so he even had shots while this brawl push was going, and there was just nothing Black Omen could really do. They were so beat up by this point.
And it also just comes down to Black Omen's position. Like, yes, the strikes were also a big deal, but because Black Omen's lights weren't really able to be decisive in this area here, and because Black Omen just seemed to be afraid of this area in Echo 7, kind of treating it like hot lava, they weren't really able to aggress any of their positions or to stretch their trading lines in any sort of direction. Meanwhile, in EmP, as you indicated, we saw the opposite. Because there was no real threat of poking on EmP's side, or because of just the sheer aggressive stance that EmP took to trading, we saw that Chimera moved out here farther. We saw that Vicious was pushing along the Delta 6 line a little more. We saw aggression from the linebackers heading in this direction. And as a result, EmP was just more fluid in their positions, whereas from what we saw from Black Omen was that they were more static and they ended up paying for it.
Yep. And that's a hard position to be in because, when you're being that aggressive, you're gonna be kind of sacrificing some armor. But, gotta, I think, just trade better. Maybe reposition in those buildings a little more often, even if you take a slightly extra laser burn. That way it's harder for EMP to be dropping those strikes on you. But, oh well. I wasn't in their comms, so I don't really know what they were seeing, what their decision making was. It did seem like those crabs, and especially that griffin, were kind of useless for too long a time. And those crabs, they make excellent tanks, especially for receiving a brawl push. They're pretty heat efficient, and they roll damage really well. But by the time their team did get pushed, they were the only healthy ones, and most of their teammates just kind of evaporated. And when you're that outnumbered, it doesn't matter how tanky you are. People are just going to shoot you in the back and surround you, and there's nothing you can do.
Exactly, and I think that's also kind of something that was a little bit of a chink in Black Omen's strategy. They had these crabs that are very good at receiving brawls, don't have a lot of mobility, but at the same time, they just weren't able to get anything done. They were isolated from the rest of the match. They were kind of out of their shooting range, and they really weren't. They really weren't effective at all. We saw it in the damage.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think you don't want to be the team that has to aggress, especially when trading's been gone on that long. But I think maybe after Lizzie took that first kind of pretty major strike, you gotta be telling your crabs, okay, you guys gotta start working some angles, trying to move up a little bit, put a little bit of pressure on, destabilize EMP's position. But it just, like, that call never happened, and so what ended up going on was just the strikes kept pouring in. Eon or Black Omen kept losing their trades, and there was just kind of a I don't know, all downhill from there. But these teams taking their precious time getting ready for Frozen City Dom. This time Black Omen will be team 1, so I would say definitely D5 is one of the strongest trading positions on this map. I just kind of, as I mentioned before, there's just such a nice long ridge that you can be popping up and over, especially if you're in a mech like that Sun Spider that has those super high mounts. And
on top of that, I guess I kind of stand corrected, since both teams didn't even try to fight for the circle. I figured that would be a point of contention for this drop, that the teams would try and keep the fight towards the circle, but in the end, they really didn't. They kept the fight focused towards, Echo 7, Fox 7, Delta 5, Echo 5. Those were the primary trading lines, and they were utilized very well by Imperial, not so much by Black Omen. And it was mainly because Black Omen just had limited spots to trade. And sure, EMP was patient, but I would once again like to bring it to kind of the aggression and the fluidity of Imperial. This kind of shows their hive mind mentality, the success that's kind of allowed them to win so many games. They just put trust in their pilots to move out and constantly stretch the lines of trading so much, and it really got to Black Omen. Their mechs were huddled up in 2 grids. You're not going to win a game huddling your mechs up in 2 grids, especially when your team's been striking you back to Kingdom Come.
Yeah, those strikes were kind of insane, and definitely at some point you got to be like, okay, we got to reposition. They're putting too much on me.
And it's very interesting because we've actually seen that Black Omen was actually very good fighting off script last time. Their victories against Imperial almost in their first matches almost seemed just completely ad-libbed, and I think Kraz even said it as much, that they were coming up with strategies on the fly and just adapting to the fight as it happened, which is why it's very interesting as to why Black Omen didn't kind of try to adopt this approach. For instance, maybe using their crabs to push up Echo 7, or perhaps maybe using their lights and crabs to stretch into Fox 5. Basically do anything to try and resolve the situation that was going on, since the trades were clearly not in their favor after critical artillery strikes were dropped.
Yeah, it seemed like, Black Omen maybe leaned a little bit too heavily on their ability to force EMP to push the opponents into their lines, because those crabs, like we said, they're great at receiving, and they want to be the ones that are receiving. The problem with them pushing, I think, is, Black or EMP definitely had faster mechs, so they're able to respond and kind of respond to those pushes a whole lot easier, and it's going to be a hard time catching any of the EMP mechs out alone or just outnumbered.
And this also comes down to the fact of what you were mentioning in drop one. You have to wonder that maybe if Black Omen experimented a little more, maybe brought a Blood Asp and brought down some tonnages a little more, or maybe tried to fit more linebackers in the drop, then they could have potentially made something happen along that Echo 7 line, but they didn't because they kind of put all their cards on the table in that first drop, which in situations like this is where you wonder if it came to bite them in the rear end. Sure, they got that win on drop one and it was very decisive and it's setting the tone, but now momentum has started to shift and the victory that Black Omen has got in that first drop has kind of cooled down a little bit. You know, that win was a very demoralizing win. There is nothing worse than getting 8-0'd, getting struck out, and getting played out like that. And especially with Krasnopesky, he's probably feeling the heat right now, trying to get some trades in, but at the same time wasn't able to make it happen. But overall, can Black Omen recover? I think they can, but even still, it's a situation that they probably didn't want to dig themselves out of. With some proper maneuvering, better deployment of the Crabs, they could be 2-0 right now and be in a much better position to win this drop.
Yeah, all that being said, hats off to Bowser and Chimera. They did some excellent trading that match, and the damage numbers showed it. But yeah, we'll see. I'm happy. I'm excited. It's a 1-1 decision so far, so this can go either team's way, right? Better content for the viewers, and for me, it's a lot more fun to cast even matches than stomps. So we'll see.
Very true. Yes.
Looks like Black Omen's finally getting most of their pilots in. They're still at 7 of 8. Come on, guys. Kraz, get your team in order. You're running pretty close here to the 15-minute in between drop time limit, and you're an admin. Lunka S.
Exactly. The professionalism is kind of well, they're still professional, but the expedition of these teams being ready has died down. Black Omen probably trying to get their team ready. Finally, they press their R key, indicating that they are good to go, want to start the match. Imperial is probably also trying to set their mechs up right now.
Yeah, they're probably...
Which bears wondering, what were they doing with all that extra time Black Omen was giving them? Who knows?
Well, maybe now that they've seen the opponent's lance positioning, they just want to kind of switch things up a bit, maybe. I don't know. I'll give them a few seconds at least.
Some members in chat saying one team should forfeit for taking this long. I disagree. The last thing we want is for teams to win on a technicality. That is not what we want. We do not want teams to forfeit. We want matches to be played. Darn it! That is what we want. We don't want any forfeits. That's dumb. That's lame. Nobody likes a forfeit. Play the match like a match. I know that if it was me, I would definitely not want to forfeit. If I was an Imperial or Black Omen's team right now, I'd be like, guys, let's just get ready and let's play this match. Come on, let's go. And I'd be hyped up and trying to hype the team up, maybe yelling a little too loud. Kraz might move me out of channel if it's TeamSpeak or Discord. Self might throw a mute on me, but you know what? I wouldn't care. And the teams might be ready. All right. Let's check in. And they are. We're launching.
Okay, finally, thank goodness. MWO might need something like the Dota ticker. Or Dota, if you take too long picking heroes, you start to lose gold. Maybe in MWO, you take too long to pick mechs, you start losing tonnage. Every 10 seconds is 5 tons.
The competitive scene of MechWarrior Online could be as well fleshed out and executed as Dota 2. PGI, get on it. We have faith in you. You guys haven't necessarily disappointed us so far. You've done a pretty good job with the game, all things considered, and the comp scene is kind of on the upswing because of your connection to the community, which we always appreciate. Now, let's see if I can't replicate what you did, Toaster, since I have a feeling that you just kind of clicked into these drop ships to see what they were bringing, huh?
I'm mostly looking at the team boards, what mechs they're bringing. I'm not actually popping into any of these mechs because Lord knows if I could figure out how to get out of first-person view. What do you see?
Interesting. I'm liking Imperial's choices. Imminent Hunchback 2CA with ER medium lasers. 2 Piranha 3s. A Hellbringer Virago from Chimera again, bringing large lasers. Charlemagne bringing the Urban Mech. Yes. Oh, I love it. I love that mech. Thank you so much, Charlemagne. You're making my day, bro. And right now, Magician bringing the Hunchback special. ER large lasers, ER medium lasers. This is interesting. This is a little bit more of a brawl focus, but we're starting to see some mechs we haven't seen. Reckless bringing the linebacker prime with lasers, and over on the other side, it looks like that Black Omen's exercising their last linebacker medium pulse lasers with Pasha in it. He's a beast in that thing. That thing's going to end up doing damage. Lizzie and Lermgod, however, bringing Storm Crows with micro lasers and medium pulse lasers, maxing out the DPS on those mechs. Yeah, actually, no. Only Lizzie's bringing the micro pulse lasers. Lermgod's just bringing the medium pulse lasers. Dario bringing the Flea 17. Navid bringing the Wolfhound 2. So it seems like these. Actually, Black Omen is the tradier team, but still, this is an interesting setup from Imperial. They kind of went top heavy with their mechs to ensue some trading, but my goodness, Stimrog, Celt, Charlemagne being the tank, Celt and Stimrog being the DPS and those lights. I can't wait to see how this plays out. If they stick together, they could be a force. But let's see how these trades play out first. Right now,
It
it
seems
looks like
Black.
Bowser's just trying to get into position in his own Novacat, which is equipped with 4 ER PPCs, and the mechs are jockeying for position. And Toast, I interrupted you. I'm so sorry.
It was interesting to see EmP to kind of take most of their weight to this one side of the map that we didn't see last game. It's I think a lot harder to kind of hold back a brawl, and I think Black Omen's doing a good job of taking advantage of it. They've switched over, they've run across, and kind of forced the EmP to reposition and gotten, I'd say, dangerously close, considering that it looks like. I don't know. You said Black Omen has.
It looks like Black Omen might be moving in. Yeah, Charlemagne's dangerously close in that Urban Mech. He's got to be careful. He's going to be the first one to get picked. But that Urban Mech getting focused. Oh, that's not good. Charlemagne's getting caught out right now. 80%. He's taking so much fire. It's not even funny right now, but he's managing to sneak out in his Urban Mech. Great escapability. Modern day Harry Houdini, but Pasha finishes it by shooting him in the back. And right now, it looks like Imperial's already down one mech. This is not good. Reckless, Magician, Imminent Self starting to get pushed. Jay-Z, however, down 72%, 49. He gets obliterated by those opening shots. Stimrog manages to finish off Lermgod. Jay-Z still very weak. Stimrog getting a great back shot, actually. Brilliant light play from Stimrog. Magician and his Hunchback 2 CA starting to egress backward. Gojal down 45%, however. Magician manages to get struck down by Lizzie, but Jay-Z and Gojal are still very weak, essentially out of this fight. Chimera finishes off Jay-Z. Reckless finishes off Gojal, and Pasha and Reckless and Stimrog, Imminent, they're all fighting their own separate light battle down here. Meanwhile, Chimera and Bowser up top just shooting the mechs that are weak. Self trying to finish off Lizzie, but at the same time, the fight down south is wrapping up poorly. Imminent, surrounded by Black Omen mechs, gets dropped, but the match difference is not that big. It's only down one mech, and the mechs from Imperial are healthier, and it's evident by the fact that we've already lost 2 Black Omen mechs in that time, and right now it's 3-4.
Yeah, this push didn't go so well. Those Stormcrows, I think, maybe not the best choice. They're very easy to kill. But Black Omen has rotated into this lower ground, kind of cut off Bowser and Chimera's lines of sight.
Gets legged by both Self and Stimrog. This is another chance to finish off a mech. Stimrog, however, losing a lot of points. Dario, Navid, and Blaketown finishing him. This is not good, and no team is near the circle. Self needs to pull back right now, but Chimera and Bowser might not have the DPS to finish this out. If the Wolfhound just pushes them, that would be an interesting situation. Self is taking down the circle, however, and this might come down to whether or not these two trading mechs can finish the fight. Blaketown's legged, so he's out. Dario completely healthy in his fleet. Navid gets legged, though. Disastrous hit. Perfectly executed shots, and all that's left now is Dario.
Yeah, Bowser loses an arm, but still has 2 PPCs left. Very dangerous. Blaketown goes down, gets that final leg finished off, I guess. And now Dario is kind of in a pretty sticky situation. He doesn't really want to stray too far from the circle, but it's going to be hard.
At the same time, he really can't afford to get too close either. Celt is a monster with that Piranha 3, doing loads of damage. Chimera and Bowser encircling him. The Piranha this time looks like he's going to be food for the Sharks. They're just trying to jockey for position to get the best way to seal Dario away so he can't escape. Dario eating a lot of damage, down 51%, 48%, and it looks like he's going to drop. Celt might be legged, but it doesn't matter. It gets the final burn. Brilliant fight. EmP leading the series 2-1.
Yeah, it looked a little hairy for EmP when they had to rotate across and make that jump. And, Black Omen, they got in there pretty quick, but they weren't able to kind of keep their heavier mechs alive. And EmP did a good job of focusing legs, calling out weak targets, I think. And that was all she wrote. What are these match
Bowser
stats?
doing work along with Chimera. The two guys, look at them go with their range mech. That Virago, 560 damage. Bowser doing 486 in his Nova Cat. Stimrog, however, 2 kills, 272 damage in his Piranha. Lots of efficiency. Sell it, 3 kills, 328 damage in his Piranha. The way they kind of seesawed back and forth was nothing, was a work of art. Reckless in his linebacker, 232. Imminent, Hunchback, 2CA, 279. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lizzie dies, 267. Nice attempt. Learn God gets picked out, gets backcored by Stimrog, 50 damage. Not a good look. Gogel in the Vulcan, 129. Navid and the Wolfhound, 337. Blaketown almost clutching the game out, 431 damage, 2 kills, showing off his skill. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. Match goes to EmP. And I would also like to say, just interestingly enough, when Charlemagne got picked, he drew the team away from the main push. So while it wasn't necessarily a pick in that he got backshot, that was disastrous. He moved, he drew Black Omen away from the main body, giving EmP time to set up the firing line. I'm not sure if that decided the game or not, but it's just those little micro movements that make a big difference. Learn God, Lizzie, they were getting seriously hit on the approach. Their brawl kind of stalled a little bit, and Imperial got amazing shots, but my goodness, the light play from Stimrog, from Self, absolutely a work of art.
Yeah, and looking at their lineup, those Hunchback 2CAs aren't the best things to be taken. Neither would be Nova Cat and the Hellbringer. So, the Urban Mech being the first focus maybe isn't like the worst thing you can have for EmP, right? Those Hunchbacks are really squishy. The arms on that Nova Cat will fall off if it's at all focused, and maybe it was actually kind of good positioning. You'd probably rather still have the linebacker be the first focus target on EmP, but that being said, Charlemagne, I think, made the best of kind of getting stuck down there, and he juked him for a little bit, and it wasn't an easy kill for sure. Fortunately, he did kind of end up getting a little back shot as he went up the hill, but
Well, let's not
uh,
call a spade. Well, let's call a spade a spade. Unfortunately, Charlemagne did get picked off very easily by exposing his back too much. And while that's hard selling the Urban Mech, because the Urban Mech kind of wears a backpack that counts all his rear torso, so it's very easy to kill, it was still a very bad pick. But at the same time, the way he kind of led the team away and withdrew from a separate position, if he lived, he probably would have been the MVP. But even still, he did a great job leading them off. But still, nothing can be taken away from Stealth and Stimrog. The two of them carried this game. Stimrog got key picks on mechs that still had quite a bit of armor and still could have done some damage. And like I said, it was just great maneuvering from Imperial's light mechs. This is exactly why I cannot count this light mech out. This light lance out. Stimrog, Self, Charlemagne, they're some of the best in the game based on these instincts. And right now, it's allowing Imperial to get back into this game, have a 2-1 lead, and the onus is now on Black Omen to get the lead back. But you know what? Can't count out Black Omen either. They came up with a brilliant strategy on drop 1 that helped set the tempo. They managed to at the same time almost win drop 3. Drop 2 was a dud for them, but drop 3 was still very close. It just felt like if Blaketown and Navid were able to get better picks, if the push didn't get disjointed, if they didn't squirrel away to Charlemagne, away from the main push in that last second, that things could have been done a little bit more. They definitely tunnel vision way too much on Charlemagne on that push. But even still, these are the drops where Black Omen kind of set the tempo for the match the last time they fought. I believe that the first game in River City was an 8-1 win for Black Omen, so they could very easily take this match back. This definitely seems to be a strong match for Black Omen. Can't say the same for Imperial. They haven't necessarily struggled, but they haven't played well, especially since Mercstar, when they played their Div B team, almost beat them on this match.
yeah. So next map we are going to is River City, but I think I want to make one last comment. I do think we're kind of seeing maybe Black Omen's overcommitment of mechs on drop 1 showing up here again. You saw 3 Stormcrows on Black Omen for that speed brawl, when I think for the rest of the season, the linebacker has definitely been the preferred choice, kind of filling the same role that the Stormcrow would. And I can't just help but kind of think, maybe this is just another instance of them maybe overcommitting their linebackers on drop 1 a little bit much. Maybe they should have maybe mixed a linebacker and a Stormcrow or something. That way you don't have to bring 3 Stormcrows here. The Stormcrow is not a bad mech, but it definitely gets CT'd pretty easily.
It's also worth noting that that Black Omen, with that in mind, may have almost forfeited this drop, but just another note that I wanted to throw in. This was sent to me by Seabiscuit. 228 Death from Above beat Mercstar Crab People 5-0. Very impressive win. And with that win, 228 Death from Above in Div B has a chance to make some moves. I believe that they weren't that many games behind. Yeah, they were only really one game behind White Knight Legion. And with this win against Mercstar, they're kind of tied with them, which is something Mercstar really did not want since they were tied for first. So we definitely got an interesting setup going on in Div B. But now we got to jump back to Div A. But yeah, you want to go to the map strat?
Sure. Well, I'm already on River City, but if you want to go back to Frozen, we can go.
Well, actually, it looks like these are going to take some time. So, Toaster, would you like to do a giveaway?
Yeah, I will do a giveaway. Let me reload. Add viewers for MWO leagues. Like I said before, all you have to do is be active in chat, and you will be in the giveaway. Unless
oh my goodness,
mod.
Lizzie did 116 damage in his Stormcrow.
Oh,
insanity.
I didn't notice that. Oh no.
That's insane. Oy vey. I don't know how he did that, whether that was a shutdown or whether that was an arty strike. That's crazy. But yeah, let's get to the giveaway. And let's include Saruman and include Saruman and include more Saruman.
That's too late for that. But like I said before, guys, if you win, please whisper me on Twitch chat. I will get you your code. Never too late to not
include Saruman, Toaster.
I will type something in Twitch chat. Hello. So hopefully you can scroll back up and find me pretty easily. I'm lurking. Go through the viewers list. All right, congratulations, Jimmy T. Rustler. That's an old meme, but it checks out. You have won a mech bay. Please whisper me, and I will get you your code. Let me know you're actually here, actually watching. But yeah, okay. Want to go map strat now?
Yes, let's do. This was a very fun match to utilize. We might not see that much on the map strat, but it's still something worth going over.
All right, I'll move it back to Frozen City because we didn't really give that full rundown here on the map strat. So,
do you want to start us off, Toast?
Yeah, sure. So the thing that interested me the most was I generally think of kind of this side as the better trading side and easier to kind of repel pushes from. But EmP at the start, set most of their trading mechs kind of up here in G5 and like H4, H5, right? And when Black Omen saw that, where's this line? Black Omen, they moved their mechs all the way across through Echo 5, Echo 6, up to the boat, and then came over boat and were working in G5. Now, granted, EmP wasn't caught with their pants down, and so by then they'd rotated over to G6. They had their trade mechs kind of up on top of these hills, with Charlemagne unfortunately being a little bit left out by his lonesome down here in the valley, and some of the other kind of more brawly mechs work in this corner.
But what is interesting to note, I'm sorry to interrupt, but even though Charlemagne was in that valley, he worked his way all the way over here into Fox 6, which is pretty impressive for an urban mech on its own. And basically what happened was that Black Omen followed him before pushing up this way. And also looking at the replay again, it looks like that delay actually hurt them. And the 106 damage from Lizzie might be because Lizzie struck the ramp and caused 100 team damage on his team. So Charlemagne's little romp away from the brawl might have done even more than anticipated. But even still, the brawl push happened and mech started to die. Could you take us through that, Toaster?
Yeah, so as Black Omen was kind of coming up this ramp, it was I would say it was pretty much a nightmare for them. EmP by this point kind of had spread their mechs all out. They Bowser and Chimera in the back in those heavies. Selith did a brilliant job playing around here up in his Piranha. The Stormcrows for Black Omen, I saw most of them, or one of them, Jay-Z, got pretty annihilated trying to come up that ramp. Eventually what they had to do is they had to kind of drop down and kind of deal with Stimrog, who was down here in the basin taking some nice back shots. They did deal with him, but then they had this like weird fight over here on H6 while Chimera and Bowser were just kind of up top farming away. Lizzie went on, I think, a little bit of a goose chase trying to kill Selith up in these buildings and never quite got it done. But unfortunately, by the time the H6 fight happened, Blaketown was led. legged. It was just Navid, Dario, and him, and uh, they made a bit of a final push. Tried to get the arms off Bowser, got one arm off, but we're never able to finish him off. Navid went down first and his Wolfhound, then Blaketown eventually went down, and then Dario is left to kind of attempt a 3v1, and it just didn't really work out. That much tonnage, you're going to have a hard time. Chimera and Bowser will hit their shots.
And you know what? What happened here was probably one of the best light fights that we've seen in quite a while in Martial Olympiad Reborn. Stimrog did brilliantly working these mechs in the corner, bringing down Lermgod with well-calculated back shots, legging Navid, basically legging mechs, keeping them from being active in the rest of the fight. Meanwhile, Self doing his best work in Golf 6, Golf 7. He managed to take Lizzie out of the fight completely, and then I think with the help of his team neutralized it, or he could have done it himself. I wasn't exactly sure. I didn't get the best look, but at the same time, Selth then came back and kind of assisted Stimrog in the neutralizing of those mechs and turned this into a light duel of the ages. Stimrog and Selth versus Navin and Blaketown, but the thing was that they didn't do enough damage on the Overwatch assaults, the Overwatch mechs, I apologize, namely Chimera and Bowser, to neutralize them. And Chimera and Bowser, nothing to take away from them. They were just constantly putting fire after fire after fire after fire, and it was just absolutely great positioning from them. And credit to Blaketown and Navid, they almost pulled the game back. They did bring down Stimrog. They brought down the Brawl mechs from EmP down here. If there was just more damage done on Chimera and Bowser, Blaketown and Navid could have clutched it. But in the end, they just could not. And my goodness, it would have been amazing if they could have. But the result stands, and a lot of it came down to the fact that Brawl push just wasn't able to go and do as much damage as they could have. It stalled. They weren't able to really push into the Overwatch mechs, and in the end, if you watch the match, there wasn't a lot of pressure on the Overwatch mechs, period. Lizzie, as you said, kind of got caught with Selith, and as a result, it seemed as though that they weren't able to maintain their focus. It kind of evolved into the tale of two fights. You had lighter mechs fighting in this area, and then you had heavier mechs kind of duking it out in this area, but the heavy mechs for Black Omen just took way too much damage, and as a result, EmP came out on top.
Yeah, those lights on EmP side definitely did a very good job of securing those flanks, not letting anything get around past them into the main brawlers on their, or into the main traders on their team. And Bowser, that Nova Cat, it's a hot mech, but if you give it enough time, it'll still output a ton of damage, and it's very frightening as a light mech to fight a quad PPC mech, that's for sure. It'll take your legs off quite quickly. Looks like,
and it looks like we are ready to go, so we are launching. Exciting match. EmP, however, has a chance to lock it up right here. If they win this drop, it'll be 3-1, 3-2 at its worst in favor of EmP, and they get to keep their top position, and Black Omen gets knocked out of first place contention. Black Omen needs to empty all the bullets in this match. They need to take out their golden gun. They have to do whatever they can to win. This will decide it right here.
Yep. Black Omens, they got to win out tonight. Otherwise, they're just out of contention for first place, and they're going to be fighting for second. So we'll see. Will they be able to kind of bring it back? We saw last time, last time their match also ended on River City, and it was a very close final two matches. So they definitely have it in them. But will they deliver?
But even still, Black Omen's pilot seats are on fire right now. The pressure is on. They can be eliminated right here, right now, or they could make a miraculous run to first place. We'll see what happens.
Yep. So this time, Black Omen dropping Team 1 on the upper starport side, and EmP on Team 2 on, I don't know what you call the other side.
And looking at the mechs right now, it seems as though Black Omen actually didn't really opt for much speed. They have Annihilators and a Dire Wolves. They do have an Arctic Wolf 1 run by Blaketown. This has SRM2s and SRM4s. And
all right.
Oh, shit.
We forgot to change. Dang it, Saruman. Oh, well. We will redrop.
Oh, my... Oh, not good.
Okay, well, unfortunately, these things do sometimes happen. But we need to remind one of these teams.
Wow, you know what it was? I was getting way too excited hyping up this match, and that caused...
Are we on, or never mind, we're on skirmish. Uh-oh. Oh, rip. Somehow we're on skirmish and not domination. I thought it would at least be domination, but looks like Black Omen has taken this opportunity to all kill themselves and their teammates. We'll be resetting. Drop decks will be locked. Unfortunately, hopefully they exit this match.
Oh my god!
What?
This is not good. I have no clue how it even ended up in skirmish. This was interesting. I thought I had it set to conquest actually.
Oh well. These things happen. Oh well. There's not too much advantage on this drop, I don't think, from seeing your opponent's team decks. No one was running anything super gimmicky. Hopefully they did exit out before taking a good look at opponent's drop decks. But we'll get this sorted, chat. I'm sorry, and we'll get things going right back again. Jimmy to okay. Aha. All right. Looks like Jimmy T. Rustler is watching Twitch chat. He's asking who does he message. It is me. We'll get you.
And I just want to point out, it was conquest. I didn't have to change anything. I literally come back in and it's conquest.
I don't know. I'm confused. But whatever. We're dropping real quick again. This is sorted.
I'm confused too. I've never had this bug before. The game mode was conquest when I loaded into the lobby. What?
Oh well. Sometimes these things happen. Let's not get hung up on it. We're dropping in real quick.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they probably did see each other's drop decks, but on a map like this, with these are fairly heavy drop decks, those sort of things aren't going to remain hidden for too long. Here. Right, Jimmy T. Rustler, I have sent you your code. Congratulations on winning your mech base, sir.
All right, now it is actually conquest, as I remember setting it to beforehand, which it was. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I'll have to go check the VODs. Figure it out. Maybe there's some lobby error that we are.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Lizzie
skirmish.
is asking why conquest. Yeah. Lizzie, oh no, not incursion. That is not a competitive game mode for sure. But anyways, looking at mechs here, we've got Black Omen dropping Upper City with 2 Night Gears, a Night Gear A and Night Gear C, a Direwolf Prime, an Annihilator 2A. Meanwhile, in the city, we've got Kraz in a Flea, Dario in a Piranha, and Jay-Z in a Hunchback, and Blaketown in an Arctic Wolf. So it looks like they're the light capping element, while as they've got the main guys in Starport to anchor.
And once again, we're coming back to the fact that no blood ass, because Black Omen blew those blood ass very early in drop 1, so their Daka push is a lot slower this time, consisting of Dire Wolves, Annihilators, and Night Gears. Meanwhile, EmP does not seem to have that issue. Chimera in a Blood Ass, Bowser in a Warhawk C with PPCs, Rick Rock, Mad Cat Mark IIB moving at a steady pace, Imminent and Reckless running Crabs and Hunchbacks respectively. Reckless's Crab having medium pulse lasers, Imminent bringing Daka in his Hunchback 2C, UAC 8, the Stealth Special, Stealth in the Commando 2D, Charlemagne in the Flea 17. And right now it looks like the match is beginning. Trades are going out. Daka is being shot. And right now Black Omen is seeing the withering push from Imperial. They're already on the move. The Daka's flying. Lizzie's already down 82%. That Direwolf is eating shots for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Gojal, Night Gear C, taking some strike damage, but their main body is kind of getting circled in the starport. This is not looking good for Black Omen.
That being said, Chimera down to 69% in his blood ass, so he was definitely taking a beating. Selth right up in the face of these assaults and his little commando working these buildings. Reckless.
But Reckless also is kind of in their face as well.
No.
However, he's taking some back shots from Jay-Z. He's trying to cover the mechs as much as possible, but now Reckless is in cover, and the match truly begins. Black Omen has to drop their mechs, but Lerm God has nowhere to drop to. He's singled out.
Yeah, this does not look good. I'm not sure that was intentional having the Direwolf and Night Gear drop in there. Gojil's or Lermgod's going to be quick to go down here, but the lighter elements of Black Omen are kind of in there, messing things up. But it's got this really weird engagement where most of Black Omen's mechs have had to like loop through the little
Gojil
basement.
is trying to poke out to get shots at Bowser's back, and it's just not working. Jay-Z's trying to come back with his Hunchback 2CA, pop up on the disc, and basically everything gets ruined. Lizzie and his Direwolf down 75%, Dario 3 and the Piranha 3 down 57%, Stealth Comp 2D, and right now it looks like that Black Omen is just out of position. Lizzie is about to be destroyed, 47%. And his mech is trying to hide in the basement from cover. Chimera downs Lizzie, and it looks like that this match is a rout for Black Omen. Blaketown and Dario are trying to huddle within the tunnel, down 44%, 36%. Blaketown just goes down. In. Dario down 44%. Reckless and his Crab 27, down 43%. Pasha and his Annihilator is about to get ruined by Bowser's Warhawk.
Oh, Bowser goes down though. Not quite
Bowser
expecting.
does go down, but the percentages are still against Black Omen completely. Dario also goes down. All that's left now is Krasnopesky and his Flea trying to...
Yeah, Krasnopesky's managed to pull a 5 cap, but with this many mechs alive on the side of Imperial, it's going to take some amazing play and a few one-shots, I think, to be able to bring this back. Charlemagne already decapping Kappa. Looks like Seleth has made his way to Sigma already, and so this doesn't look like Krasnopesky has any real chance. Krasnopesky now being shot at by Stimrog, and this is definitely going to go the way of Imperial. Krasnopesky dodging fire. Oh, manages to finish off Reckless in his Crab, but so I think a little too late. Maybe he can get a pick here on Imminent if he works it right. But oh, Kraz gets legged by Rickrom in the Mad Cat B, and it's quick to go down afterwards.
And that's all she wrote. Imperial takes the set 3-1 against Black Omen. Hopefully not with my assistance.
Yeah, it's definitely... I don't know what it was that Imperial saw, but when they decided to push, it seemed like they had a good idea that they had the advantage. Maybe they just saw those Night Gears and realized, oh, they don't have the output to keep up with us. I do think that Direwolf and that Night Gear dropping down into the basement early was definitely kind of a mistake on the side of Black Omen. But what else do you see from these scoreboards? Or this scoreboard?
What I saw from the scoreboard was I couldn't check because apparently people in chat have indicated what I saw, that I switched, that it was skirmish.
Though. So Saruman really has been vindicated? I don't know.
I probably haven't been vindicated. It was probably a mess up by me. Oh well.
Oh well. But yeah, so looking at this scoreboard, Gogil not pulling even 200 damage, just 186 in his Night Gear. He's, I believe, no, it was Lermgod that was the one that it was kind of left up top. Lermgod managed 400. Lizzie managed 959 in that Direwolf. So the scoreboard doesn't look as bad as the outcome of that match seems, or was. I don't know. Oh my goodness. I'm getting tripped up on my words. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Going... All right, so Lizzie top damage on Black Omen, and I think, yeah, in the match, he pulled 959 damage. The highest damage on the side of Imperial was Rickrum with 519. So, you know, they were able to put out a fair bit of damage. Pasha 435, Lermgod 400, but the rest of Black Omen's mechs not putting out much at all. Blaketown and his Arctic Wolf held to just 114. Kraz 48, but I guess that's a little bit to be expected in that Flea. Meanwhile, the damage numbers are much better spread on the side of Imperial. Most of their mechs have, 200 plus. Even Bowser pulling not that much in his Warhawk, 217, but I think they just maybe did a better job of rotating their mechs out, and especially once Black Omen had those assaults and heavies drop into Garage, I think accidentally. I think that was they just got out positioned. But do you want to head over the map strat, Saruman? I'll let you do the drawing.
Yes, we can, and we will.
All right. What did you see, sir?
What I saw was essentially Imperial utilizing the weight and speed of their deck to push up Echo 6 after they saw that the team from Black Omen was a bit more static. Going like that. That's all she wrote. Straight line in Echo 7, and Black Omen basically sitting on top. They tried to take advanced positions to protect this area of Echo 7. You had three of their 4 assault mechs drop into the lower areas of Gamma here. And after all that, Lermgod essentially got isolated up top, being the only assault presence on that starport. And what that equated to was Lermgod being annihilated by the said push by both teams. Reckless getting super aggressive, pushing up from the water up here, taking some back shots from DayZ, but the back shots weren't enough to stop the push. Lights joining in, all aflutter, everybody going in at once to try and end the fight at Echo 7. And that's exactly what happened. The fight started there and the fight ended there, with all the assaults dying it down.
Yeah, it seemed like, after those assaults for Black Omen ran in or ducked down too, it's like the lighter guys on the sides of Black Omen, they just kind of ran in there, caution to the wind. I know I saw Blaketown just kind of dive in there in that Arctic Wolf, and he just got torn up from all sides because so much of the Black Omen tonnage had dropped into that little garage underneath. I think that is like, honestly, maybe a bit of a throw, accidental throw, whatever, but moving those mechs down in that garage is just no bueno. At some point, you got to just stay up there and fight and hope that your other elements make it, because I think you lose either way. But dropping
even still, we have to consider the fact that drop 1, like, I hate going back to it, but those 3 blood asps, the Mad Cat Mark II, all that Black Omen used on that drop is what really mattered. Like, sure, you can argue that people seeing the decks beforehand might have helped, but at the end of the day, Imperial was going to see that they had Annihilators. They were going to see that they had Direwolves. Whatever argument you want to use for that, fine. You could put it on the caster, fair enough, but at the same time, Imperial is not a dumb team. They're going to have scouted that position, and they're going to have realized almost immediately that those mechs were not in a good position to receive anything. They weren't able to do enough DPS. They really couldn't get away. Once the shots were coming off on Starport, it's all she wrote.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but we'll play it out. EmP, I believe, has now basically locked up this division, unless, well, okay, they haven't locked it up. They could still, if Blackwatch beats them handily, I believe, not get first. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to, crunch the numbers, cue the Beautiful Mind music and scene. But at this point, I do believe Black Omen no longer has a chance. Black Omen no longer has a chance of winning this division. But any drops they can take is definitely to their benefit, because there's still a chance they have to fight Blackwatch for second, and they lost to Blackwatch last time, so any games they can get off of Imperial here matter for sure.
And it's worth noting, Lizzie did almost 1k damage, but the damage spread amongst EMP's mix were much greater. The Mad Cat Mark IIB, the Blood Ass, the Warhawk, all doing easy damage. Components just being focused more. EMP taking in the win.
Yeah, Lizzie making a comment about how quickly the Blood Asp can jump jet twist compared to his Direwolf. Oh, that Direwolf, it's definitely a turret, that's for sure. You just kind of have to hunker down and just hope you can out DPS your opponent before even as they twist off some of your shots. But okay, so I think every time we've seen this map, the team on Team 2 side has won by pushing Starport. Is that correct?
Yeah, I want to say so, but there's times where the push kind of stalls and the other team can't do much about it.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll be interested to see, will Black Omen, take, I believe they might have some Mad Cats left that they can bring. But I know they're out of Blood Asps, and I think they're out of Annihilators at this point too. So it'll be interesting to see what they try and do. It doesn't seem like they have too much in the way of those DACA pushers to push across left. I don't know. This is a hard map to win by pure cap strat, right? It's a little too small. It's not like Tourmaline. You can't do any, I don't know. I've never seen it done well or seen it win any kind of cheeky Eisengram-esque Tourmaline strat where you just kind of run around capping and hope you can outrun your opponents. if your opponent knows you're doing that, you can take up theta and have pretty good sight lines on all your cap mechs as they go around.
Yes, definitely. And however, we have seen situations where when mechs are down just bit by bit, that other teams were able to pull it out. And at the same time, we've seen situations where when a lot of mechs die, or if one team loses the light lance over another team, then it's game over. Like they get out capped very easily, and that's something that could happen between Black Omen and EmP. Black Omen might be down and out for the count for first place, but they can still very well take second from 228, especially if 228 loses to Imperial, which right now seems like a very big possibility. Like I said, say what you want about Drop 4. It's fine. We messed up and we're willing to own up to it. But the point is that EmP was still 2-1 going into this, and those 2 wins were very, very convincing with amazing light play being shown on both sides. And at the same time, Black Omen definitely brought the power on a lot of mechs, but even though you have to wonder how much that drop 1 was worth, the mech choices definitely seem a little bit more on the subpar area like that. It's just like it just seems,
Yeah,
a little unfortunate.
Put all your eggs in the one basket with your mech choice that match is. I think that's what I've learned this season of MOR 8s is that teams that end up like going for like super homogenized decks and lumping all the good like super specific variants or chassis into one match, they tend not to do so well. I think we've seen in general teams that kind of spread their mech choices out over multiple drops do better. Now maybe I have not actually looked up the stats to back this up, but that's my kind of gut impression at this point. Drops teams that tend to put like 3 linebackers all in one drop, they seem not to do so well in general. Now, that's not always the case, but no, that's my impression.
Yeah, and you know what? At the same time, though, like that first drop was definitely something that was helping Black Omen take the fight in their favor. Drop 2, they kind of just got struck and lost. Drop 3, the brawl turned out not in their favor. And drop 4, EmP just rushed all their mechs in their face. And you have to wonder if that was EmP strategies in the beginning, since all their assaults were very highly mobile. Mad Cat Mark II, the Blood Ass, they're very fast, and they probably took a page out of Black Omen's book to trying to use the same strategy against them. So this will be the final drop, sure. But what would Black Omen do to recover from this, per se, if this was still, a 2-2 situation? Now, they might employ similar rushing strategies at the same time, but what mechs can they really use? The Mad Cat Mark IIs are out. They have no blood asps. What highly mobile assault mech could they actually use to kind of gain the edge in this situation?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you have to bring out a Lerm mech or something just with raw DPS. I think they might have one or two Mad Cats. I don't think they used them all yet. But it'll be interesting to see. It looks like EmP is locked. Now we're just waiting on the good old Black Omen boys. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think it does seem like, Brawl or Daka pushing on this map is just kind of the go-to strat. It seems so strong, especially with the tonnages for this match. It makes a nice kind of split between your deck. You have some faster, tankier lights to go off to capping things, and then you have a big group of tonnage, blob of tonnage with a ton of DPS in those Daka mechs. Seleth was ready. He is unreadied. I am confused.
He's probably waiting for Black Omen to be ready. South needs to ready.
I have gotten word from Oppenheimer, 1927, who won our first giveaway, that he will not use the giveaway code, so I will go ahead and re-roll that after this match.
Interesting. Why is that?
I don't know. He says he does not really play MechWarrior, so maybe he just watches. He enjoys watching MechWarrior. But I appreciate it. He says new giveaway courtesy of Oppenheimer 1927. So thank you, Oppenheimer 27. We appreciate the donation, or Twitch chat appreciates the donation.
Drops are incoming.
Bunch of good luck, have fun's going out. This is an interesting deck. Okay, I think I know where Black Omen is going with this.
Yeah, they're going all rush. Mad Cat Mark II Bs. Makes you wonder why we didn't see these mechs earlier instead of the Annihilation.
Well, maybe they felt they could just out-trade EmP with all those AC2s and Ultra 2s, but we'll see. So yeah, on the Black Omen side, we've got 3 Assassins, 3 Madcat Bees, 1 Summoner, and 1 Piranha, so they definitely look like they're here to run right at EmP, probably right across this water. What do you see on EmP's side?
EmP is bringing a similar deck to what Black Omen brought with a couple of changes. Reckless and a Dragon 5N instead of opting for the Hunchback, Vicious and the Huntsman B. And what's in it? Medium pulse lasers, no missiles yet, sad face. Stimrog and the Wolfhound, 1A, which I believe is the... Let me check. Nope, just a regular standard Wolfhound. Celt and the Incubus 4, bringing some, I want to say medium pulse lasers in that, and it's there. And right now we see it. Black Omen's pushing up the middle.
Yeah, these Assassins have forced Charlemagne away from Theta, but in doing so, they've probably kind of shown their hand here. Now EmP knows something up, and 3 Assassins just kind of running straight across. The rest of Black Omen is still a ways away, kind of stuck up in Upper City. Summoner hasn't started moving forward, neither have these Mad Cats really. They're still kind of in the protection of those buildings. JZ jumps up there. He must have taken a pretty big hit. He's down to 77% in that Assassin, and now he's getting poked from the back by Selith and the Incubus. And I don't know, we see a bunch of trading going on.
Right now the fire is dropping. The Mad Cat Mark II Bs look like they're going to start moving into position to receive the fire. And the mechs in the back from Imperial are kind of getting hammered a little bit, but the damage really isn't that significant. Reckless and his Dragon 5N making very smart trades. Chimera's Annihilator 2A is not taking much damage either, but he's dropping the dock of the Mad Cat Mark II Bs have dropped into the water. This is probably why they saved him right here, to try and get ready to steamroll with the brawl. Mad Cat Mark II Bs are on the move. Assassin 21 and the Summoner Ds are popping out to shoot, and it looks like that Black Omen is going for an all-or-nothing push against Imperial's heavy body, but at the same time, the Assassin Hit Squad and the Piranha 1 are currently engaging the Light Lance of Imperial, doing a little bit of back-and-forth trading here, assisted by Celt in his Incubus 4 with medium pulse lasers, trying to make sure that no flanks or any cheeky attacks happen on this heavy assault lance that's literally out in the middle of nowhere. There, I would say that wow, they're like right next to the plane on the other side of dropship. They're so far out. I guess they definitely expected the DACA push this time.
Yeah, they've backed up much further than Black Omen did. But now, Black Omen, I think they've sensed this or scouted this to some extent. And so their Mad Cats, rather than opting to go straight up to Starport, they're kind of looping around down through the river. And it'll be interesting to see, do they try and like chase these lighter mechs on the side of Imperial through these buildings? It's going to be hard catching the Incubus and Wolfhound and Huntsman. But, you know, maybe these Assassins will do the job. But yeah, we've got this really weird situation. They're still just kind of rotating through water. It looks like EmP is starting to move up some of their assaults that were stationed way back in Starport. Maybe they've sensed that this push is no longer coming straight at them, and they should have eyes now on these Mad Cats.
And the match just seems to be progressing ever so much. Black Omen's trying to do like this large, wide flank of the basically Mad Cat Mark II Bs, the Summoners. They've all kind of moved in Vicious's direction. He's getting hammered by shots, down 57%, taking a lot of damage. Strikes are going down. Gernhawk, however, really eats at 48%. His Assassin 23, 74% on Celt, and his Incubus lays down a decent alpha on Lermgod. He's just kind of fluttering around, down 90%. Pasha and his Mad Cat Mark II B, 89%. Vicious down 57%, but still holding on. And it looks like Imperial's kind of forming a wide flank to get ready to intercept this main hit by Black by Black Omen, essentially. And it's just right now a tale of two different kinds of trades. Reckless and Celt kind of just poking the summoners, the Mad Cat Mark II Bs, which kind of grouped on one side, the Lizzie, Blaketown trying to put some fire down, Dario and his Piranha 1, Charlemagne also getting some fire down on Dario, 89% in his Flea, Vix just 56%, and there's no major move yet, I want to say. Magician Mad Cat Mark II-C, down 84%. But right now, it looks like Imperial definitely has the edge, and Black Omen's trying to punch out of this formation that's going on by laying down the damage on Vicious and knocking him out of the game. Vicious is down 35%. He's about to go down, but he manages to flank out decently enough. Lermgod down 68%. Pasha also down 68%. Lermgod's about to fall right here. That 59% really hurts on him, and Imperial is just lining up their shots beautifully, forming a firing line going in and out. Lermgod trying to do his best work with the AC-10, but now he's completely out of ammo or weapons.
Yeah, even
Magician, however, kills Vicious.
Oh no!
Team kill.
Even Pasha's lost half of his mech, so it doesn't look like a winning position from Black Omen here. EmP doing a good job flexing out into this river, kind of rotating their mechs in and out. But that being said, the Assassins have taken the top along with Dario, so maybe they'll get some work done.
Blaketown manages to kill the Magician. Lizzie down 32% is Mad Cat Mark II-B. Reckless in the Dragon 5N. I believe he's de-armed, so he's just running around. So the mech advantage definitely is not actually favoring EmP at this moment. Strikes were dropped. Chimera's taking a lot of damage along with Self, and it looks like the push from Black Omen might have been successful. Bowser down 54%. Chimera's about to be finished by Gojil and Dario, I want to say. He's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah,
Blaketown gets legged in his assassin. And yeah, even still, it looks like that this match could still go in favor of Black Omen, of Imperial. It's not over yet. Blaketown, however, does finish Chimera. Charlemagne's out in the water all by his lonesome. Bowser gets ganged up on in his Direwolf, gets brought down by Gojil. And Charlemagne's getting chased away in his little fleet. Stinrog trying to bring the Wolfhound 1A up to cap and support, but it looks like it's not happening. No dice. Black Omen also has an advantage on the cap game, and this game looks like it's solidly in the hands of Black Omen.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad there for Black Omen. I thought they were going to lose, but I guess maybe EmP just got a little bit too aggressive on that corner, taking a lot of hits on their main assault body. Selth and Charlemagne bravely trying to fight off Black Omen. There's stick mechs on either side though. Reckless is sticked, Lizzie and his Mad Cat is sticked.
Charlemagne gets killed, and he was probably one of the best people with weapons. Stimrog is the only one with weapons now. Jay-Z finishes off Self, and it looks like that Reckless is just trying to cap points. Stimrog getting killed in the middle. Jay-Z and Pasha finishing him off as best they can with the weapons they...
Yeah, Stimrog trying to finish off Pasha, not quite making it. And now it's just poor little disarmed Reckless hiding in the buildings. Maybe he'll go for a cap. Not much point at this point, but you know, do extra match score just to pad your stats a little bit, maybe.
Yep, and the game is over. The match goes to Black Omen. So the decision's 2-3, but unfortunately the match was already wrapped up with game 4.
Yeah, good try on a good effort on their part. And they did a good read, I guess, of realizing EmP had backed those trade mechs so far off that they could freely kind of go work down through River City and kind of focus the Huntsman and the lighter elements of EmP's side while those assaults were kind of caught out. Reckless, where you going, buddy? The cap point is that way. Oh, he may just wander out to his death out of bounds. Dario, I smell his blood though, so I don't think he's gonna give him that chance. Dario, maybe he doesn't know where Reckless has gone.
No, he doesn't. Reckless is hiding behind the ship. Dario sees where he's at and runs into the water to get...
Look away.
Not a hard realization for a Piranha.
Yep.
Reckless just standing there. Hi, how's it going, Piranha? Nice to meet you. My name's Reckless. I have no guns. Pick on me.
Jay-Z securing the kill like a true bro. But yeah, overall, I guess well played by Black Omen. I thought they were going to lose that at one point, but they managed to bring it back when the EmP assaults tried to go around that corner onto those Mad Cats. I guess just the DPS of those Mad Cats kind of won the day. Maybe the DPS and the bad hitboxes on things like the Direwolf. What do you see from the scoreboard here, though?
What I see is the Assassin Hit Squad doing work. Jay-Z and Blaketown, 5 kills, 800 damage between the two of them. Mad Cat Mark II Bs also laying down the pain. 450 to 550 damage between Pasha, Lizzie, and Lermgod. Gojal, 432. Dario, 349 in his Piranha. Pretty good. Stimrog gets picked out, unfortunately, in his Wolfhound 1A. Gets sent to Cap. Can't really do much damage there. Chimera doing 765 damage in his Annihilator. Bowser, 368 in the Direwolf. Reckless, 248 in the Dragon. Magician, Mad Cat Mark II-C, 385. Self, Incubus 4, 627. Amazing game by Self.
Wow, yeah, that's impressive. That mech is, I think, very hot. I've played it a little bit, and yeah, it takes a lot of work to get that much done in an Incubus. The alpha's nice, but definitely a very hot mech. All right, real quick before we get these teams in here for hopefully one final interview. Do you want to go to the map strat and just draw out kind of what happened?
Could you get started? I unfortunately have to go do something real quick.
Okay, sure. I will get that started. So basically, it took a long, or at least it felt like a long time for those Mad Cats. They moved up here. They were mostly 3 stacked up here. The Assassins moved to Theta, and then we're kind of pop-tarting around this edge, keeping the EmP mechs at bay. Summoner kind of went with the Mad Cats. And so these Assassins felt like they were alone. Let me switch to the map strat. These Assassins up on this edge from Echo 6 to F7, they felt like they were alone there and kind of vulnerable for a long time. It seemed like the Mad Cats took quite a bit of time deciding to push. Eventually they did, though. They pushed down, they jumped down into the water. But what happened was EmP, they dropped their assault mechs all the way back to the spaceship, right? And so I guess it was a good scouting on the side of the Assassins. They must have, in the process of jumping up, relayed to their team that the EmP assault lines had moved so far back. So rather than pushing straight up onto Starport like we've seen, the Mad Cats opted instead to move all the way F7 to F8, kind of down below this ledge. They managed to they did a good job, caught out the Huntsman. He took a severe beating from that. Same with, I think, Reckless's Dragon made a bad peek or two on those mechs. And eventually what happened, so at this point we have basically all the Black Omen mechs sitting here, and then a few kind of poking around there. EmP rotated their main body out into water. They left, a token mech or two up there, but they eventually got swarmed by the Assassins. And EmP, in the process of trying to flex on this little corner, they lost the top, allowing the Assassins on the side of Black Omen to just kind of take control up here. And I think that was the deciding factor in this game. Maybe EmP overcommitted a little bit too much on this F7 corner. Their assaults got really beat up trying to do that. They didn't actually manage to finish off all the Mad Cats. And eventually those Assassins up top just kind of started raining missiles down on the mechs in the water. Bowser had to kind of snug up against here. Chimera kind of doing his best to tank for the team. But eventually they all died. There's a little bit of a scrum here around Theta as the light mechs for EmP tried to kind of finish this out. I know Reckless ran all the way to Sigma, I guess going for the cap, maybe hoping that his teammates can survive long enough. But it was not to be. Black Omen managed to pick off all the Imperial mechs, and that was game. Are you back, Saruman? Do I hear you?
Yes, I am back, and we got the 2 interviewees in here, Bowser and Lermgod. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Yeah, good yourself.
All right, thank you for that. So first off, drop 4. Lermgod, very sorry about that. That was on the caster. That's actually the first question I want to ask. Do you think that my mistake affected the drop at all?
I don't think it did in any way. We just didn't execute properly. We had a strat plans. We didn't really look at what they did. It was all good.
And Bowser, do you feel that seeing Black Omen's deck might have given you an advantage in that drop?
Nope, we were pretty confident. We had the victory as soon as we saw it.
So what you're saying is you had the victory as soon as you saw it. So
as soon as we dropped and as soon as we went into the drop, basically, it was won.
Okay.
Um,
So now going to drop 5. Yeah, I realize that we're doing it backwards because that's going to be controversial. I know many teams would grab onto that mess up, which is fine. I understand that it is a muck up, and I once again apologize, Lermgod. Your team played very well throughout this series. Now, drop 5, going into that. Lermgod, your team kind of did a bit more of a slower push than Imperial did. Imperial just kind of rushed to the top, and it kind of felt like that your mech choice was kind of hindered by the lack of Blood Ass and the Madcat Mark IIs. You might have, in the Madcat Mark II, you took in drop 1. Do you feel that drop 1's that the mechs you brought in drop 1 might have hindered you throughout the rest of the drops, specifically in drops 4 and 5?
I think they hindered us more in drops 2 and 3. But either way, I've always had the theory of use all your big, powerful mechs early and just don't hold anything for later. Bloodass, I think I was happy with it, other than maybe having linebackers for 2 and 3 would have been better. I probably wouldn't change anything else.
All right, fair enough. And now going into the push, what the assassin hit squad instead of conventional lights? What was the thought process behind?
We had no Wolfhounds and Vulcans left, so we just went with the brawliest ones we had available. And EmP obviously were prepared for our strategy quite early, so we realized that there was no point pushing into the upper spaceport. So we just try to rotate around and force them to deal with our 4-cap.
Okay, and now going to drop 3. That seemed a bit disjointed. One side kind of got a little. One side got a little bit. There might have been a miscommunication. One side might have miscalculated its push a bit towards the other. For drop 3, what was the thought process going on with Black Omen in that push, and what necessarily happened to where things felt so split between your brawlers and your light mix?
I think it felt all right. We basically were just trying to follow their long range mechs and trying to sightline them as long as possible. Our problem with the push, 2 of us were probably too far out on the side. I know I tried to deal with a Piranha and then got fucked by a Novacat. It's ideally we could have pinched them a bit earlier, but they just played it really well.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now Bowser going into drop 3. Obviously, that was a good reception, but it also felt like your lines got a little strung out as well. What was the plan on Imperial's?
The plan was we had assumed they would do range trading, so that's why we had our 2 powerful range mechs, but we were ready for any kind of aggressive movement after we saw Lance position and knowing what players play what, so we were basically ready, I would say, going into the drop.
And about the entire disjointment between light mechs and the trading mechs, was that planned? And was it also planned for the light mechs to kind of spread out and try and take as much heat away from the range mechs as possible?
Absolutely, yes, that was the plan. And sorry.
Well, I was about to say, going on to that, when you saw Black Omen's kind of lighter mech, specifically the Stormcrow, what were the focus calls and what was priority targets for Imperial when the push first?
CT the Stormcrows. Just CT them. Make CTs. Just do it. And I think we did.
And also, Lermgod, looking at the score, Lizzie did 106 damage with an artillery strike on drop 3. Was that something that might have assisted with the win there for?
I think at that point the match was already gone. I'd already been popped on the right. We'd already lost 1 or 2 mechs. I imagined it was just on the front of the hill. He got a decent strike onto them, but also 2 splashbacks onto us. So I don't think it changed much the drop. I think we didn't really. We needed to gank the Novacat. That was basically probably the win in the drop if we killed it early, but it just sat there and killed us all.
Now, I would say, however, that drop 1 was a masterwork. Tell me how you guys came up with that, since that was brilliant.
So we were fucking around a little bit I'll stop swearing.
Yes, please do, Lermgod. I was about to say that.
Sorry.
Let's keep it. That's all.
Man.
Yeah, I got you. It's all good.
We were basically trying to work out EmP tend to outmaneuver us if we give them too much time, and the synergy they've been playing for years. So the idea was to create a strategy that just forced it into a pure shootout. And we figured out basically very quickly if you just YOLO W key up, you can pretty much pincer them into Kappa, like getting stuck back there. And from there, we just basically was very lucky as well that they had an Executioner and I believe a Wolfhound that just went to Theta, expecting a fight to, we just 8v6 them and killed them quickly.
And now, Bowser, what was your Imperial's plan? Obviously, you had a lot of tonnage down in Theta, did not seem to work. And where did the response break down to where Black Omen was just able to kind of steamroll through your...
So first off, our Direwolf got headshot early. That was very bad, though it may not have influenced the match. It definitely lost its potential damage. Like, I mean, the end result, the match was... I mean, their mechs were pretty solid. I can only imagine what the extra damage from the Direwolf would have done. Although, again, he wouldn't have lived that much longer, so it is what it is. But we didn't have enough mechs, like, with enough firing angles. We had a lot of people trapped in buildings, especially when the Direwolf was getting shot. So, again, don't know how much more he would have done. As for myself and Logan, we basically went down to Theta, and we were actually anticipating enemy cap on Theta. So, and if they had,
sorry, who's Logan again? Could you specify for the viewers?
Charlemagne, sorry.
Okay. And I'm sorry to interrupt. Go on, please.
I kind of lost my train of thought, but anyway, yeah. So basically, we were anticipating Theta.
And you were on Theta and you were anticipating mechs. What did you?
Yeah.
What was your thought process like when you saw there weren't mechs?
We immediately turned around as fast as we could and came back. It really wasn't fast enough. It really was not fast enough.
And drop 2, just to go into that, this is kind of for both of you. Drop 2 was kind of a drop of artillery strikes. Lermgod first, Bowser second. What do you think was the biggest reason why, Lermgod, you lost the drop, and Bowser, you won the drop? Was it the strikes? Was it the trading? Was it the light gank? What element of the fight gave Imperial the win and Black Omen the loss?
So I'd like to start from my perspective, if that's okay. So regarding the gank on the Wolfhound, we believe, from our perspective, that didn't really influence the match at all. Because we believe the enemy mechs were in such a corral in the city that, I mean, the Wolfhound's death was kind of irrelevant from our perspective. But after he died, we basically just moved up and closed in. I would say we won it partially on the trading and like partially from the strikes, and also the lack of map the enemy controlled. Again, they were all balled in the city. So we basically just took advantage of that, I think.
And Lermgod, what do you think lost you guys that match more than anything? Was it the strikes? Was it the light pick? Was it the improper trades? What?
Very much like Bowser, I think the light pick was not very influential on the match. It was more of the strikes. I know I was in the Griffin, for example. I'd pretty much lost my arms to strikes before even the start of the fight. Lizzie also was pretty much nearly 40% of his mech got lost to strikes. So it seemed like we just didn't spread well enough and give each other that heads up on the strikes. From there, we probably should have just pushed them. I believe they had 3 long-range traders. We had more brawlers. We should have probably committed earlier as opposed to just sit there and suffer.
All right. Once again, great match from both of you guys. Well played.
Thank you. All played to Black Omen.
The same to you guys. Thanks for the cast as well.
And once again, sorry for the screw up.
It honestly didn't impact it very much, in my opinion. So I think you're fine.
I agree. Yeah, it was execution that don't sit in the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean the fact is, I think what Bowser was trying to say earlier was that they saw the mechs early anyways, like just visually, and from seeing that, they wouldn't have gained any more or less information.
But I don't remember any. I don't think either team changed their deck or
strategy. They didn't.
I think it was. Yeah.
I think it's forbidden in the rules, right?
Yeah,
I
it is forbidden in the rules.
So
when it comes to redrops, you can't change your.
That's why I say, as pompous as it may sound, that we knew we had it because like we saw the mechs and we knew instantly what was on every mech, what they were going to intend to do, just off of their deck choice. Again, like because mechs weren't changed, I mean, didn't really influence anything.
Very interesting if we didn't have 2 fall down though, because you mechs were very open by the time they crossed, especially.
They actually
But-
were. We had actually taken a very significant amount of damage. I myself
Yeah.
was actually very worried. We had taken a significant amount of damage. Just
I think if the mechs didn't fall down, it would have been a very interesting close match.
Yeah, falling into the
Then we
basement
would have
did
rolled
seem
this for
like
sure.
a big change to the situation in that match.
Well, we
seemed like-
lost nearly 40 DPS when the 2 mechs fell down.
Yep. All right. I don't know, Saruman, you have any more questions?
Nope.
All right, thanks Bowser and Lermgod for showing up for the interview, and thank you guys and both of your teams for allowing us letting us cast this match. Really appreciate it. Great games all in all. Congratulations, Imperial,
Cheers,
on your
guys.
win, but
thank you.
nonetheless a good showing from Black Omen. All that being said, I think that's it for me and Saruman. Saruman, you have any last words for the chat?
Nope. We said everything that needs to be said.
All right. Thank you everybody for watching. My name's Toaster, and here with my good old buddy Saruman.
Saruman of many colors. Sorry.
No, I didn't warn you about that one. Thanks for watching. Please stay tuned for more casts this week, and yeah.
And
fun
we
out
have
there.
another cast tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Yep. Remind me who that is. I believe it's RJF versus
RJF
somebody.
versus JGX.
Okay, so some of the same names you saw tonight will be in that match from the side of Black Omen. But anyways, thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you later.